You, who were cheated on and cuckolded by your own brother. Not only did you not get angry, you instead began to communicate deeply with his mother. Not only did his mother fall in love with communicating with you, but even his sister and sister-in-law were easily won over by you, all because in your previous life, you were poisoned by your most trusted brother and your most beloved wife. Little did you expect that upon being reborn, you would awaken the cow system, which helps you conquer top-tier beauties. Thus, you decided to start with the people closest to him. In the middle of a noisy train, you suddenly snap your eyes open. A violent headache makes you want to scream. You remember? Weren't you dead? You reach out as if struck by electricity and touch your own face. Just like that, you have been reborn. While you are still in disbelief, a cold, mechanical voice suddenly rings in your mind. Cow system is activating. Activation successful. This system is dedicated to helping the host see the truth of the world, punish infidelity, and reach the pinnacle of life. A pale blue virtual light screen slowly unfolds before your eyes. It introduces the functions of the system. Function 1. The Eye of Truth, which can view any woman's attribute values. Function 2. Conquest Missions, where the system will randomly release tasks to conquer top-tier women. Once they fall for the host, massive rewards can be obtained. You are momentarily stunned. The Cow system. A mixture of wild joy and icy hatred surges into your heart. God let you live again and gave you such a heaven-defying artifact. Isn't it exactly for revenge? Just then, your good brother calls. You take a deep breath, suppress the churning killing intent in your chest, and press the answer button. Kunyun, where are you, kid? The train isn't late, is it? How about I pick you up at the station? On the other end of the phone, Chen Hao's laughter sounds jarringly familiar. That deliberately manufactured warmth is nauseatingly hypocritical. This voice, which now sounds as cold as tempered ice, once upon a time, you actually believed this falsehood and treated a wolf like a dear friend. The floodgates of memory burst open. Fragments of your past life flood in like a dam breaking, instantly submerging you. Hey, Kinyun, still there? Why aren't you saying anything? On the phone, Chen Hao's tone adds a layer of feigned concern and confusion. You grip the phone tightly, take a deep breath, and forcibly suppress the killing intent boiling in your chest. I'm here, Haozi. You deliberately let your voice take on the exhaustion of long-distance travel. I should be arriving soon. It's too noisy on the car. I didn't hear what you said just now. Oh, I figured as much. Chen Hao's laughter rings out again. It's fine. Just get here. I've already had my mom prepare the food. I'm heading out to the station now to wait for you. Half an hour later, accompanied by the screeching of brakes and a violent jolt, the train finally glides slowly into the platform. Kunyun, over here! Amidst the noisy crowd, a loud and warm voice calls out. You look toward the sound. Not far away, a tall, dark-skinned youth is stomping his feet and waving vigorously at you. He is wearing a faded basketball jersey, with an exceptionally bright, almost stinging smile on his face. This is precisely the good brother Chen Hao, whom you treated with total sincerity in your past life. Looking at that familiar smiling face, a trace of icy killing intent flickers deep in your eyes, but you squeeze out a perfectly timed, tired smile and walk toward him. Haozi! You finally made it! The road must have been exhausting, right? Chen Hao strides over and, without a word, puts his arm around your shoulder and pats you hard. He plays the role of the intimate brother to perfection. Let's go, come home with me. My mom specially made several hard dishes today to welcome you properly. Chen Hao lives in an old-fashioned residential area with a sense of age. The corridors are dimly lit, the walls covered in various small advertisements, and the air is filled with a mixture of humidity and cooking fumes. Right here, my place is on the 5th floor, no elevator. It's a bit of a struggle, brother. Chen Hao carries your bag with one hand and keeps his other arm around you, chuckling as if showing off his territory. You remain silent, letting him lead you upward. In your past life, you thought this was simplicity and the breath of life. But now, this dilapidated environment only reflects Chen Hao's bottomless greed and desire. It was precisely to escape this kind of life that he didn't hesitate to murder his so-called brother. Mom, open the door! I brought Kinyun back! As soon as they reach the 5th floor, Chen Hao shouts at the top of his lungs and pounds loudly on the faded security door. Soon, a sound of footsteps comes from inside, and the lock clicks open. What are you shouting for? It's like you're chasing a ghost. A gentle female voice, with a hint of scolding, follows. The door is pulled open, and a woman stands at the threshold. She wears a simple house dress, with an apron tied around her waist. She looks to be around 37 or 38, but time seems to have favored her. Her skin is fair and delicate, with almost no visible wrinkles. Her features are refined and soft, especially her eyes, which are as warm as water, seemingly able to wash away all the fatigue and dust in one's heart. She possesses a grace and serenity settled by the years, like a blooming white orchid, fragrant, elegant, and full of charm. Even you, filled with hatred, couldn't help but be stunned for a moment upon seeing her. This is Chen Hao's mother, Su-wan. In your past life, you only thought of her as a kind elder and never looked at her closely. Seeing her again now, you realize what a magnificent woman she is. Hello, Auntie. You suppress the turbulence in your heart and greet her politely. Oh, you must be Qin Yun. Come in, come in! Seeing you, Su-wan's face immediately breaks into a gentle smile, her beautiful eyes curving into crescents. She says you must be exhausted after such a long train ride. The food is almost ready. Hurry and wash your face, we can eat right away. Just as Su-wan warmly invites you in, the pale blue light screen pops up again without warning. Target locked, Su-wan. Beauty, 91. Figure, 96. Heartbeat value, 0%. Loneliness value, 50%. Comprehensive evaluation, top-tier beautiful woman. Loyal and virtuous. Body and mind as pure as the beginning. A rare conquest target. Ding! Newbie mission released. Mission target, conquer Su-wan and make her heart belong entirely to the host. Mission reward, elementary medical skills. Your pupils suddenly contract. You stare fixedly at those two lines, 0% and 50%, as your heart starts pounding wildly. Conquering Su-wan? Conquering your good brother's mother? Even as a person of 2 lifetimes filled with towering hatred, you are left speechless for a long time by the system's first mission. This is simply too insane. Qin Yun, what's wrong? Why are you dazing at the door? Su-wan asks with concern when she sees you aren't moving. Oh, it's nothing, Auntie. You quickly snap back to reality, your face once again wearing a tired smile. You walk into the room, your gaze inadvertently brushing over Su-wan's cheeks, slightly flushed from being busy, and those eyes as soft as water. A wicked and cold thought begins to grow wildly in your heart. Chen Hao, you destroyed my life, so I will let you watch with your own eyes as your most respected mother falls into my arms step by step, using your family to pay for your sins. Now that is revenge. If memory serves, Chen Hao also has a sister and a sister-in-law. You wonder if those two can reach the target criteria. Thinking of this, the corner of your mouth curls into an unnoticeable, grim, and cruel arc. Come, Qin Yun, don't be a stranger. Just treat it like your own home. At the dining table, Chen Hao enthusiastically puts a large piece of braised pork in your bowl. Try my mom's cooking. It's definitely no worse than a 5-star hotel. Su-wan takes off her apron and sits down next to Chen Hao, smiling gently, maternal love almost overflowing from her eyes. Don't listen to his bragging. It's just some home-cooked food. I don't know if it suits your taste. Eat quickly. It won't be good once it gets cold. You nod and put the braised pork in your mouth. Your eyes light up and you praise her sincerely. Auntie, your cooking is incredible. This braised pork is better than any restaurant I've ever been to. This praise comes from the heart, but it also carries a trace of calculation. What you want is to dismantle this family, and the first step is to capture the mistress of the house. Really. A woman dresses for the one she likes, and a chef cooks for the one who appreciates it. Hearing such sincere praise, Su-wan's face immediately blossoms with joy, and her warm eyes sparkle. She quickly puts another serving of food in your bowl and says, if you like it, eat more. There's still more in the pot. That's right, Qin Yun. While you're at my house, make sure to enjoy my mom's cooking. Chen Hao boasts proudly from the side, devouring food with his mouth full. Looking at Chen Hao's defenseless, stupid appearance, you sneer internally but cooperate verbally. Truly, Auntie, this food tastes even better than what my family's chef makes. This sentence accurately hits the softest spot in Su-wan's heart. She had heard Chen Hao mention your family background. To receive such praise from you makes her feel satisfied and proud. Oh, this child has such a sweet tongue. Su-wan's cheeks flush slightly, and she is overjoyed. Her gaze towards you becomes increasingly kind and affectionate, as if looking at another son. If you want to eat it in the future, come to Auntie's house anytime. Auntie will cook for you. The meal proceeds in an atmosphere that is harmonious, but filled with hidden agendas. By the way, Kinyun, Chen Hao says after finishing his meal and wiping his mouth, "What are your plans for tomorrow? Where do you want to go? I'll take you around our area." Here it comes. Your heart stirs. You know the opportunity has arrived. You put down your chopsticks, a look of difficulty appearing on your face. "I'm not in a hurry to play," you smile somewhat sheepishly. "I came in such a hurry this time and didn't bring many decent clothes. After sitting on the train for over 10 hours, the clothes in my suitcase are all wrinkled. I'm afraid I won't look decent going out tomorrow." You turn your gaze to Su Wan, your eyes sincere. "How about we go to the mall tomorrow to buy some clothes? Oh, it's no big deal." Chen Hao slaps his thigh dismissively. "Sure, a new Wanda Plaza just opened downtown. They have all kinds of brands. I'll take you tomorrow." "I'm not familiar with this place and my own taste isn't great," you say, looking back at Su Wan with a pleading tone. "Auntie, I don't know if you have time tomorrow. Could you trouble yourself to go with us and give me some advice? You have such great temperament. Your taste must be much better than us young boys." At this, Chen Hao pauses, then reacts. "Yeah, Mom, just come with us. Kinyun is right. Your taste is way better than mine. You can buy a couple of new clothes for yourself while we're at it. How long has it been since you bought any?" "Me?" Su Wan is clearly surprised. She waves her hand, a faint blush rising on her cheeks. "I'm just an old woman. What do I know about you young people's fashion? You two just go. I have to go to the market tomorrow to buy groceries." "Auntie, you aren't old at all," you immediately interject with absolute seriousness. "You look as young as my sister. Besides, beautiful clothes have no age limit." "I trust your eye." The word sister makes Su Wan's heart tremble. What woman doesn't like being praised for being young? Especially when the praise comes from a handsome and clean-cut young man like Xiao Qinyun. Her face turns even redder, her eyes flickering with a playful glare. "You child, your mouth is like it's been smeared with honey." Su Wan scolds you verbally, but the joy in her eyes can no longer be hidden. "Mom, just go," Chen Hao joins in. "You can go to the market in the afternoon just the same. We can be your consultants." Looking at her son's expectant eyes and then at your sincere, slightly reliant gaze, the bit of hesitation in Su Wan's heart vanishes instantly. She feels wrapped in a long-lost feeling of being needed, and her heart feels warm. "All right, I'm truly afraid of you two." She finally nods with a smile, feigning helplessness. "Then tomorrow, Auntie will accompany you to have a look." "Great!" You immediately show a brilliant smile. Seeing the increasingly gentle and close look in Su Wan's eyes under your offensive, the smile on your lips deepens. Meanwhile, Chen Hao across from you is happy that his brother and mother are getting along so well, completely unaware that a giant web is being carefully woven for him. The first step of revenge is perfectly achieved. Tomorrow is the moment to start letting this holy white orchid become stained with your scent. After dinner, Chen Hao's belly is round. He flops onto the sofa, rubs his stomach, and lets out a satisfied burp. Su Wan prepares to clear the dishes, but you beat her to it, quickly stacking the plates on the table together. "Auntie, you rest, I'll take care of this." "Oh, you child, what are you doing?" Su Wan is startled and quickly steps forward to stop you. "You are a guest. How can we let you do the work?" "Put it down, I'll do it." "Exactly, Qinyun. You sat on the train for so long. Go hide away," Chen Hao calls out lazily from the sofa. "Auntie, you worked hard cooking. What's a little dishwashing?" Your smile carries a hint of gentle refusal. "Just let me move around a bit, otherwise sitting is uncomfortable." As you speak, you are already carrying a stack of dishes and heading straight for the small kitchen. Su Wan stands rooted to the spot, watching your back with surprise and admiration. Well-behaved young people are rare these days, especially since she heard Xiao Qinyun is a young master from a wealthy family. Her impression of you climbs several more steps. Thinking that a wealthy young man might not know how to wash dishes, Su Wan follows you into the kitchen. There, she sees you already skillfully cleaning. Su Wan is somewhat surprised. Even wealthy young men know how to do housework now? Little does she know that the reason you are so skilled is that her good son seized your family assets in your previous life, leaving you to live in poverty where you had to rely on yourself for everything. Even then, her son Chen Hao wouldn't let you go and still murdered you. "Qinyun, really, there's no need. Let me do it." Su-won suggests softly as she stands beside you. Auntie, if you keep being so polite, I'll be too embarrassed to come next time. You turn your head and smile. Auntie, if you stand here, how can I move? The kitchen is small enough for only one person to turn around. You say half joking. As you turn to pick up another clean plate from the sink. Oh, I'm in your way. Su-won feels a bit embarrassed and quickly takes a step back. However, the space is truly limited. In her retreat, her back bumps into the refrigerator door. Her body leans forward uncontrollably, and her arm instinctively swings forward. It happens to hit the porcelain plate you just washed and were about to put down. With a crisp clatter, the white porcelain plate shatters on the floor, fragments flying everywhere. Both of you are stunned. Oh dear, look at me, it's all my fault. Su-won reacts first, her face full of regret and apology. She immediately crouches down to pick up the shards. Are you hurt? Auntie, don't move. Don't use your hands, it's dangerous. But it's too late. In her haste to clean up, one of Su-won's long fingers is cut by a sharp fragment. SS's, she gasps in pain. A drop of bright red blood quickly oozes from her fair fingertip. It's bleeding. Without any hesitation, you grab Su-won's wrist. Su-won feels her wrist tighten, held firmly by a warm and powerful hand. Before she can react, an even greater shock instantly sweeps through her entire body. You actually took her injured fingertip into your mouth without a word. Su-won's mind goes completely blank. Her whole person freezes. A warm, moist sensation envelops her fingertip, a strange feeling she has never experienced before, like an electric current starting from her finger and instantly spreading through her whole body. She can clearly feel your careful suction. Before her is your enlarged, handsome face and your eyes that appear incredibly focused and deep at this moment. Time seems to freeze at this moment. Su-won's heart beats violently, as if it's about to jump out of her throat. Her cheeks become burning hot at a visible speed, turning red from the ears down to her neck. Kinyon, you, Su-won stammers, unable to finish a single sentence, feeling her whole body go weak. While carefully licking the small wound on Su-won's finger, you glance at the blue light screen only you can see. Heartbeat and loneliness, values rising. You bet right. A trace of an unnoticeable arc curls at the corner of your mouth. For a traditional woman like Su-won, who has lived in loneliness for a long time and is conservative at heart, the impact of this sudden intimate contact is far stronger than any sweet words. It is a mixture of shyness, panic, and a strange thrill, enough to throw a boulder into the calm lake of her heart and stir up towering waves. Su-won feels as if all her strength has been drained. Her legs feel weak, and she can only stay standing by, leaning against the refrigerator behind her. She can clearly feel your warm lips and tongue wrapping around her fingertip. That unfamiliar sensation, like currents of electricity, makes her tremble slightly. She wants to pull her hand back, but her body refuses to obey. Then Chen-hao's lazy inquiry comes from the living room. Mom? Kinyon? What happened? What broke? This voice is like a bucket of cold water, instantly waking the dazed Su-won. She snaps back to her senses. The thought of her son right outside seeing this unseemly scene is terrifying. No, nothing. Su-won is panic-stricken and almost instinctively tries to pull her hand back. Simultaneously, she shouts toward the living room, her voice carrying an unnoticeable tremble due to nervousness. It's just that my hand slipped and I broke a plate. As she speaks, she pulls hard to get her finger back. However, you do not let go immediately. You raise your eyes, those deep pupils staring straight into the depths of Su-won's panicked eyes, as if looking through her soul. In the second before releasing, you even gently and subtly lick the wound that is no longer bleeding one last time. Su-won feels that light lick almost make her heart leap out of her throat. She finally pulls her hand back as if struck by electricity, clutching it tightly to her chest, as if the heart-pounding warmth and sensation still remained there. She is both ashamed and afraid, her cheeks red enough to bleed. She doesn't dare look into your eyes again. Auntie, I'm sorry. You step back appropriately to create some distance, your face showing the right amount of apology and worry. You explain sincerely, I was just too anxious just now. I was afraid of the wound getting infected. I was too impulsive. This leaves Su-won's heart even more confused. This explanation is so reasonable. Yes, he is just a junior worried about an elder. He was just too anxious. She must have overthought it. But that feeling. I'm fine. Suwon stammers, her mind in a mess, head lowered as she avoids looking at you. You should go out. I'll clean up here, don't get pricked by the glass. How can I do that? Your hand is injured. You shake your head gently. Auntie, go rest in the living room. I'll take care of the rest. Looking at your clear and sincere smile, Suwon's heartbeat remains chaotic. She waves her hand hurriedly. No, you go out and watch TV with Housie. I'll do it myself. It'll be done in a moment. After saying this, she pushes you out of the kitchen and quickly closes the sliding door. Leaning against the cold door panel, Suwon clutches her pounding chest, gasping for air. Her mind is filled with the image of your deep, focused eyes when you held her finger. Suwon's cheeks are incredibly hot. She knows without a mirror that she must be blushing furiously and looking disheveled. What is wrong with me? She holds her forehead and mutters to herself, her voice full of annoyance and shyness. Suwon, oh Suwon, you're at this age, what are you thinking? No, I can't think about it anymore. Suwon shakes her head vigorously, trying to throw those forbidden images out of her mind. She takes a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down. Her gaze falls on the mess of broken porcelain on the floor. She finds the broom and dustpan, crouches down, and starts cleaning carefully. She must clean this up, just as she must sweep those absurd thoughts out of her heart. But as she cleans, your words, Auntie, you look as young as my sister, pop up again without warning. Sister? Suwon's movements pause, her heart skipping another beat. Since her husband died, she has devoted herself to her children and the household, living like a spinning top. She had almost forgotten she was once a woman who loved beauty. How long has it been? How long since someone praised her like that? She instinctively touches her face. It feels smooth, with seemingly not that many wrinkles. As soon as this thought arises, she is startled and snuffs it out. Crazy. Truly crazy. Suwon curses her own lack of shame and speeds up her movements, sweeping the last bits into the dustpan. She stands up and looks at the floor, clean as new, as if she could erase everything that just happened. After tidying the kitchen, she fixes her slightly messy hair and clothes, takes several deep breaths to let the blush fade, and adopts the calm appearance of an elder before opening the door. In the living room, Chen Hao is indeed sprawled on the sofa playing with his phone, not even looking up at the sound. But you aren't watching TV. You are sitting on a dining chair not far from the kitchen, as if you have been waiting for her all along. Seeing her come out, you immediately stand up, your handsome face still carrying a trace of worry and apology. Auntie, are you all right? Does your hand still hurt? You ask with concern. Seeing your worried look, the contradiction and panic in Suwon's heart are instantly replaced by a thick sense of guilt. See? He didn't think much of it at all. It's just me, as an elder, having impure thoughts. I'm fine now. Suwon avoids your gaze, unnaturally hiding her hand behind her back and feigning ease. All right, I'm fine. Housie, don't just play with your phone. Chat with Quinyon more. I am chatting, Chen Hao replies vaguely, eyes still glued to the screen. Suwon shakes her head helplessly and turns to the balcony to collect the laundry, not daring to meet Xiao Qinyun's eyes again. You watch her slightly panicked back, the arc of your smile deepening slowly in the corner where no one can see. Excellent. This game of chess has only just begun. You, who were cuckolded by your brother, not only did you not get angry, you instead began to communicate deeply with his mother, to the point that his mother fell in love with communicating with you. Even his sister and sister-in-law are willing to play doubles with you. All because in your previous life, you were poisoned by your most trusted brother and your most beloved wife. Little did you expect that upon being reborn, you would awaken the Cao system, which helps you conquer top-tier beauties. Thus, you decided to start with the people closest to him. After much effort, you got his mom to agree to accompany us to look at clothes the next day. As you come out of the bathroom drying your hair, you calculate how to continue increasing Suwon's loneliness and heartbeat values tomorrow. Soon, the next day arrives. Wanda Plaza, as the newly built top-tier commercial center in the city, has its modern glass curtain walls sparkling in the sunlight. Traffic is heavy, crowds are surging, and the air is filled with youth and fashion. Standing in front of the plaza, looking at the trendily dressed, laughing young men and women, Suwon instinctively grips the strap of her handbag, her eyes showing a trace of unease and awkwardness. Everything here is too unfamiliar to her, and too dazzling. Since her husband passed away, her world has consisted only of her home and the vegetable market. She hasn't set foot in a bustling place like this for many years. Today, she specially dug out a light blue dress that had been at the bottom of her trunk for years. Although the style is a bit outdated, the fabric and workmanship are good, making her skin look even fairer. She even did the unthinkable and put on some powder and combed her hair carefully. In the mirror, she really did look a few years younger. However, standing here, surrounded by this modern trend, the little confidence she had managed to build up was instantly washed away. Compared to Soo-won's reaction, you appear calm and composed. Today you are wearing a simple white casual t-shirt and jeans, looking clean and fresh. Your handsome features stand out in the crowd, causing many passing girls to glance your way frequently. You seem not to notice those gazes, keeping your eyes on Soo-won beside you. Seeing her slightly stiff manner, a gentle smile curls on your lips. "Auntie, you look truly beautiful in this outfit today. You have such great temperament." Xiao Qinyun's voice is not loud, but it clearly reaches Soo-won's ears, sincere and without a hint of exaggeration. Soo-won's heart skips a beat. That heart-pounding sensation from the kitchen last night seems to return to her fingertip. Her cheeks heat up instantly. She quickly lowers her head to avoid your gaze and mutters a scolding, "You child, talking nonsense again. At my age, what temperament is there to talk about?" Despite this, her hand on the bag strap loosens slightly, and the awkwardness in her eyes quietly fades. Target: Soo-won. Heartbeat value: 11%. Loneliness value: 66%. You look at the data jumping on the light screen, and your smile deepens. Just a simple compliment can make her heartbeat value rise again. This auntie, wrapped in loneliness for too long, actually desires to be noticed and affirmed more than anyone else. I'm telling the truth. Standing here, you are much more striking than those young girls. All right, Kinyun, stop flattery. My mom is thin-skinned. Look, she's already getting embarrassed. Chen Hao casually puts his arm around your shoulder and winks with a laugh. Let's go, let's get inside. You've got to show me the world today. Just as the three are about to step into the mall entrance, the phone in Chen Hao's pocket rings jarringly. Hello? What is it, baby? Seeing the caller ID, Chen Hao's careless tone immediately becomes syrupy. I'm shopping with my buddy right now. Ah? Now? This urgent? It seems something important was said on the other end. Okay, don't cry. I'll head over right now. Send me your location. Chen Hao hangs up, a look of difficulty and apology appearing on his face. He rubs his head and says to you, Kinyun, I'm really sorry. Something urgent came up with my girlfriend. I have to head over there immediately. You feign surprise and raise an eyebrow, saying understandingly, what happened? Is it serious? Should we go with you to take a look? Oh no, it's fine. Chen Hao waves his hand dismissively. Just some nonsense with the wedding company. I'll go check it out and communicate a bit. I'm really sorry today, brother. I can't stay with you. He then turns to Soo-won and says, Mom, I'll have to trouble you to accompany Kinyun to shop today. Hearing her son is leaving only her and Xiao Kinyun, Soo-won immediately loses her composure. She says hurriedly, Howzy, how about Kinyun goes with you? Or we can shop another day. How can we do that? No. Chen Hao, in a hurry to leave, rejects the idea without thinking. It wouldn't be convenient for you two to come where I'm going. And Kinyun is here for the first time. He's unfamiliar with the place. You can't just leave him here alone. Okay? Enough said. I'm off. Before he finished speaking, Chen Hao was already like a gust of wind, turning to the roadside to hail a taxi and quickly disappearing into the flow of traffic. Only you and the helpless Soo-won were left on the spot. The previously noisy atmosphere suddenly became quiet. An unspeakable awkwardness filled the air. Soo-won lowered her head, not even daring to look at you, her mind a mess of blank space. What now? What should I do now? Just as she was getting so nervous she could hardly breathe, your gentle voice, with a hint of a helpless smile, reached her ears. Well, Chen Hao is really unreliable. Soo-won snaps her head up and meets your clear eyes. She sees a perfectly timed look of apology and a bitter smile on your face. Auntie, I'm truly sorry for causing you trouble. Seeing your sincere look, the panic in Soo-won's heart settles a bit. She waves her hands hurriedly. It's no trouble at all. It's all that brat Howzy's fault. He's too much. She pauses and asks, tentatively, Then, how about we head back first? We're already here, you say, looking at her with a hint of expectation and a pleading smile. And I didn't bring any clothes at all. I really must buy some clothes to wear today. Su-won looks at the light in your eyes. The words of refusal reached her lips but couldn't be spoken. Her heart starts pounding uncontrollably. Ultimately, Su-won can't resist your pleading gaze, and with some hesitation, follows you into Wanda Plaza. Upon stepping into the mall, a luxurious atmosphere mixed with high-end fragrance and air conditioning hits them. All around are dazzling luxury display windows. Exquisitely dressed young men and women walk through, every face radiating confidence and vitality. All of this makes Su-won feel increasingly out of place. She instinctively pulls at the hem of her dress again, as if the good outfit she carefully chose before leaving suddenly became old and rustic here. She feels like an ugly duckling that accidentally entered Swan Lake, taking every step with extreme caution. "Auntie, don't be nervous." Your voice sounds in her ear, as gentle as a spring breeze, instantly dispersing some of the gloom in her heart. Su-won looks up and sees you smiling at her, those clear eyes containing no trace of impatience, only comfort and encouragement. You naturally walk on the outer side of Su-won, using your body to shield her from the crowded throng. This subtle, protective gesture makes Su-won's heart warm uncontrollably again. I'm not nervous." She defends herself in a low voice, but her fingers gripping the bag strap betray her true emotions. You don't expose her, only smile and scan the surrounding shops, then point to a women's clothing store. "Auntie, how about we go look in that one?" Su-won follows your finger. It is an elegantly decorated, exquisite women's clothing store. The models in the window are wearing the latest dresses, elegant and noble, clearly expensive at a glance. She is stunned for a moment, then looks back at you with confusion. "Kyun, what are we going in there for? Weren't you going to buy clothes?" "Yes." You nod naturally, but then you turn your gaze tenderly towards Su-won, a smile on your lips that makes her heart flutter. "But before I buy for myself, I want to pick one out for you, Auntie." "Buy for me?" Su-won is like a cat whose tail was stepped on, eyes widening as she waves her hands repeatedly, her voice rising. "How can that be? I don't want it. At my age, why buy new clothes? Why waste that money?" She is so nervous her face is flushed red. The price of one dress here is probably enough for her monthly living expenses. More importantly, letting a junior and her son's friend buy her clothes? What is that about? People would laugh her to death if word got out. Target, Su-won. Heartbeat value, 13%. Loneliness value, 67%. Looking at the numbers jumping on the light screen again, you understand perfectly. Her refusal is half out of frugal and conservative instinct, and the other half, is it not because the suppressed desire deep in her heart has been ignited, causing panic? "Auntie, how can this be a waste?" Your tone remains gentle but insistent. "Just treat it as my way of thanking you for taking care of me these past few days. Haozi is my best friend. You are my elder. It's only right that I show respect to you." You pause, your gaze lingering for a moment on her slightly outdated dress. "Besides, you will definitely look even better in new clothes. Don't you want to look beautiful at Haozi's wedding?" Su-won is left speechless by your words, her mind in a mess. Indeed, what woman doesn't love beauty? What mother doesn't hope to be radiant at her son's wedding? It's just that since her husband left, the burden of life has made her forget that she once had those golden years. Seeing Su-won's wavering expression, you know the timing is right. You don't give her another chance to hesitate. You step forward and very naturally take her arm, half leading and half insisting as you take her toward the women's clothing store. "Let's go, Auntie. Just treat it as accompanying me." Your voice carries a hint of intimate insistence. "Today you don't get a say." Su-won feels the warm touch of your palm on her arm. Through the thin fabric, it feels like an electric current, making her body stiffen again. She is half carried forward by you, her mind a blank. The words of refusal are stuck in her throat. She can't speak them. She can only let you lead her, step by step, into that shop that is luxurious to her. As soon as they enter the door, a sales guide in a professional suit with exquisite makeup immediately greets them with a professional smile. Her gaze stays on you for a second, a flash of admiration in her eyes, then sweeps over the clearly uneasy Su-won beside you. The smile then fades slightly, revealing an unnoticeable look of scrutiny. Su-won is made even more uncomfortable by this gaze, instinctively wanting to pull her arm out of your grasp, but you quietly hold it even tighter. You seem not to notice the subtle change in the guide's attitude and ignore Suwon's struggle. You just lead her straight to a row of hanging dresses. How about this one? Your gaze falls on a sapphire blue silk dress. The cut is smooth, the style simple and grand, with only small diamonds embellishing the neckline, luxury hidden in low-key elegance. Before Suwon can even see the style clearly, her peripheral vision catches a long string of zeros on the price tag. Her heart skips a beat, and her face suddenly turns pale. No, Kinyun, this is too expensive. Let's leave quickly. She lowers her voice, almost begging, and pulls your arm with force to get you out. Madam, your husband has excellent taste. The sales guide, seeing you are interested in the store's main new arrival, assumes you are a couple. Her smile immediately becomes much more sincere and enthusiastic. This sapphire blue specially complements your skin tone. You will certainly look noble and elegant in it. The phrase "your husband" makes Suwon's face burn all the way to her ears. She is both ashamed and anxious, waving her hands repeatedly. No, you've misunderstood. He is my son's friend. The smile on the sales guide's face freezes, and her gaze becomes subtle once again. A son's friend, bringing an elder to buy such expensive clothes. This relationship. Target: Suwon. Heartbeat value: 17%. Loneliness value: 69%. Looking at the numbers jumping on the light screen, you sneer inwardly. This sense of shame brought about by a bystander's misunderstanding is the perfect catalyst to stimulate Suwon's mental defenses. Far from explaining, you lean into the misunderstanding, turning to give the sales guide a gentle smile, though your tone is dominantly firm. Please get a size suitable for my auntie and let her try it on. As you speak, you release Suwon's arm and place your palm lightly on the small of her back, half pushing her toward the fitting room. The movement is intimate and natural. Kinyun, don't do this. The warm touch on her lower back is even more heart-pounding than the arm holding earlier. Suwon's body trembles. She feels her whole being turning soft. She feels as if she is being roasted over a fire, with all the surrounding gazes becoming scorching hot. The sales guide is an old pro at reading people. Seeing your wealthy and dominant attitude, how could she dare neglect you? She immediately wears a face full of smiles and takes down the dress. Certainly. Please wait a moment, sir. I will assist this lady immediately. The sales guide eagerly leads Suwon toward the magnificent fitting room, her mouth never stopping with the flattery. Madam, you've maintained your figure so well, and your skin is so fair. You'll look like a different person in this color. Your son's friend will surely be stunned when he sees you. Suwon's mind has completely turned into a mess, flanked by you and the sales guide. Her words of refusal are stuck in her throat. Shyness and panic nearly drown her. She can only let herself be pushed into that spacious, brightly lit fitting room, her hands stuffed with that silk dress that feels cool to the touch but whose price is terrifyingly hot. As the door closes, cutting off the outside world, Suwon leans against the cold wall, clutching her wildly beating chest and gasping for air, the color completely drained from her face. Watching Suwon's panicked figure disappear into the fitting room, you unhurriedly pull a thick stack of red banknotes from your wallet and hand them to the sales guide. HMPH. You tilt your chin slightly toward the fitting room and say indifferently, "You understand what to do, right? Some like to play it pure, some like to play it thrilling. This one before you." The sales guide has spent years in this luxury store. What kind of guest hasn't she seen? Seeing the stack of cash, her eyes instantly light up. She understands immediately, receives the money respectfully with both hands, and puts on a smile 10 times more sincere than before. Bowing and scraping, she says, Understood. Please rest assured, sir. I guarantee you will be satisfied." She has seen plenty of these rich young masters' hobbies. Some like it pure, some like it thrilling. This one before her seems refined, but in reality his desire for control is extreme. Bringing an elder who clearly isn't from the same social class and using such an ambiguous yet dominant attitude, she can't be bothered to guess the story behind it as long as there's money to be made. Inside the fitting room, Suwon nearly slides down the cold wall to sit on the floor. Her heart is crashing violently in her chest, as if it would jump out of her throat the next second. The sapphire blue silk dress in her hand feels cool and smooth, but at this moment, it feels like a red-hot iron, making her fingertips tremble. This is too absurd. All of this is too absurd. Suwon takes a deep breath takes off the light blue dress that already looks out of place, folds it carefully, and places it on the soft stool nearby. Just as she is about to pick up the sapphire blue dress, there is a knock-knock on the fitting room door. Suwon is startled, instinctively wrapping her arms around herself. She asks nervously, "What is it?" The sales guide's enthusiastic voice comes from outside. The gentleman was worried one piece might not fit well, so he picked out several more in different styles for you. I'm bringing them in for you to try all together. Without waiting for Suwon to refuse, the door is pushed open a crack, and the exquisitely made-up guide squeezes in sideways. Her arms are draped with various dresses that look expensive at a glance. She hangs the clothes on the wall hooks. As her gaze sweeps over Suwon's body, which is only clad in undergarments, a flash of admiration and realization crosses her eyes. Her smile becomes even more sincere. "Madam, your figure is truly the best I've seen for someone your age. You've got more substance than the young girls in our shop." The guide acts as if she doesn't see her embarrassment, tidying the new clothes while saying casually, "Your husband is so good to you, and his eye is sharp. These pieces he picked are the ones that best highlight your temperament." As she leans over, she smoothly scoops up Suwon's folded old dress into her arms, a fluid, natural movement, as if just tidying up a piece of clutter. "I'll take this out and put it away for you. You take your time trying these on." "Hey, wait!" Suwon tries to stop her, but the guide has already exited the fitting room with a professionally perfect smile, considerately closing the door for her. Everything happened too fast for Suwon to react. Inside the fitting room, looking at the remaining row of brand new, unfamiliar luxury clothes on the rack, a sense of unprecedented helplessness seizes her. She takes a deep breath, seemingly making a decision, and with trembling hands picks up the sapphire blue silk dress. The cool, silky touch against her skin makes her shiver. The dress is perfectly tailored, hugging her well-maintained curves. The woman in the mirror is both a stranger and familiar. That charm, worn away by time and life, seems to have quietly returned at this moment. Suwon's cheeks can't help but flush, and her heart skips a beat. However, when she reaches back to pull the zipper, a problem arises. The zipper is designed to be delicate and hidden, located right between the shoulder blades. No matter how she hunches her shoulders or what awkward posture she takes, her fingertips can only barely touch the bottom of the zipper. She can't apply any force. After several tries, the zipper remains unmoved. Fine beads of sweat appear on her forehead, half from anxiety, half from shame. She is trapped in this small space, half dressed in an expensive gown, in a total dilemma. She can't walk out disheveled. The only way is to call for help. But the thought of letting that guide with the subtle gaze come in and see her in such a pathetic and ambiguous state makes Suwon's face burn hot enough to drip blood. She bites her lower lip, fingers tightly clutching a corner of the curtain fabric. Finally, her inescapable embarrassment overcomes her shyness. She closes her eyes and with a trembling voice calls out, "That... Excuse me? Can someone come in and help me for a moment?" You are sitting on the soft sofa outside the fitting room, idly flipping through a fashion magazine. But all your attention is focused on that closed door. You calculated the timing, and you calculated Suwon's predicament. You specifically looked at that dress's zipper. It's designed to be so subtle that a woman dressing herself would almost certainly run into trouble. As for the guide you handled with money, she is likely lounging in the warehouse drinking coffee. Everything is under your control. Finally, a faint, trembling, and shy call comes from inside the door. Excuse me, can someone come in and help me for a moment? Here it comes. An unnoticeable arc curls at the corner of your mouth. You put down the magazine, stand up, and walk unhurriedly to the fitting room door. You raise your hand and tap gently. Knock, knock. "Auntie Sue, what's wrong?" Your voice is gentle and full of concern as you continue. The sales lady seems to have gone to assist another guest temporarily. "Is there something I can help you with?" Inside, dead silence. Suwon's blood seems to freeze in this instant. It's Xiao Qinyun's voice, not the female guide's. Suwon's cheeks turn scorching hot. With her ears and neck flushing a shameful pink, she instinctively wraps her arms tighter around herself, her bare back pressing against the cold mirror, but that coolness cannot extinguish the fire in her heart. What should I do? Why is he outside? Where did the guide go? Her mind is a mess. She is currently disheveled, the expensive dress half hanging on her, the back zipper wide open, revealing a large area of skin and the edges of her underwear. How could she let a man, especially Xiao Kenyun, see her like this? But her old clothes have been taken away. She simply can't get out now. "Auntie, are you alright?" Outside, your voice rings out again, filled with doubt and worry, as if you might push the door open if she doesn't answer. Suwon's heart is pounding so hard it could jump out of her throat. She bites her lip hard. Intense shame and helplessness interweave, making her whole body shake uncontrollably. The thought of asking for help rises only to be crushed. Letting him in to help? Suwon feels like her cheeks could fry an egg. She doesn't even dare imagine the scene. But does she have any other choice? Leaning against the mirror, Suwon feels her body temperature rising from shame and panic. She looks at the trapped, red-faced woman in the mirror, caught in an unprecedented dead end. Every second of silence is like an invisible hammer pounding on her taut nerves. Outside, you don't urge her again. This perfectly timed patience makes Suwon feel even more humiliated. She knows she can't remain silent. Finally, the inescapable suffocation crushes her last shred of reserve. Suwon closes her eyes, using every bit of strength to squeeze out a voice as faint as a mosquito's buzz, every word carrying a scorching sense of shame. The dress, the zipper on the back. I can't pull it up." Her voice shakes beyond recognition. Simply stating her predicament makes her feel as if she were standing naked before you. There is silence outside for 2 seconds, followed by your voice, carrying a hint of realization and concern. "Is that so? I just looked around, and that sales lady really seems to have stepped away. She might not be back for a while." Your words carry a perfectly timed sense of being troubled, as if you are seriously trying to help her think of a solution. Suwon's heart sinks. Her last shred of hope is destroyed. Just as she is in despair, your voice rings out again, gentle yet carrying a fatal temptation. "How about, Auntie, I come in and help you for a second?" You used your wits to ensure Suwon couldn't reach her zipper alone in the fitting room. Out of kindness, you offer to help, but she refuses heartlessly. But after the refusal, there is only dead silence and helplessness. What can she do? Is she to stay trapped here forever in this half-worn dress? As if seeing through her struggle? You immediately add, your tone sincere to the extreme. "Don't worry, Auntie. I promise to keep my eyes closed. I definitely won't look. I'll just pull the zipper up for you and leave immediately." Keeping my eyes closed. These 4 words are like a lifeline circling in Suwon's confused mind. Her reason tells her this is absolutely not okay. A man and a woman alone in a private place like a fitting room? How could she face anyone if this got out? Unfortunately, emotionally, she has been pushed to the edge of a cliff. Aside from grabbing this lifeline, she can't find any other way out. Time passes second by second. The air in the fitting room seems to thin out. Suwon's breathing becomes rapid. She can clearly hear her own heart beating like a drum. Finally, she gives up the struggle. In the dead silence, she tremblingly reaches out and grasps the cold door handle. Click. A slight unlocking sound is exceptionally clear and jarring in the quiet environment. Suwon bites her lip until it nearly bleeds. She slowly pulls the door open just wide enough for one person to pass, her head lowered, not even daring to look at the figure outside. She whispers, "Then, be quick." With that faint consent, your tall figure appears behind the crack of the door. As promised, you have your eyes tightly shut as you sideways squeeze into the already cramped fitting room. The space instantly becomes crowded and ambiguous. Suwon can even smell the fresh scent coming from you. This scent belonging to a young man is like an invisible net, wrapping her airtight, causing her already rapid breathing to halt. Suwon stands with her back to you, looking through the large dressing mirror. She can clearly see your every move. When she sees that you truly have your eyes shut, the giant boulder in her heart drops slightly, and she breathes a sigh of relief. You kept your promise and didn't look. But before that relief can settle, new tension grips her. With your eyes closed, how are you going to find that tiny zipper? "Auntie, I can't see." "Don't move." Your voice comes from behind her. Warm breath brushes her earlobe, triggering a slight shiver. Suwon stands stiff, not daring to move, only able to watch in the mirror as your hand slowly and tentatively reaches for her back. You seem to notice her stiffness. Your movement pauses, but you don't stop. Your hand continues blindly searching for that damn zipper. However, due to the angle and your eyes being closed, your hand drifts slightly off course during the search. That warm, large hand follows the soft curve of her waist and, with a trace of uncertain hesitation, slides slowly upward. Then, under Soo-won's terrified, nearly frozen gaze, your palm completely and accurately covers her soft, full breast. Time seems to stop at this moment. The soft sensation through the thin lace is warm and elastic, pressing closely against the lines of your palm. Soo-won's brain goes boom, an instant blank. An unspeakable shame and horror, like a burst dam, instantly swallow her. Her body is like it's under a freezing spell, frozen on the spot, even forgetting to breathe. The woman in the mirror has eyes wide open, lips slightly parted, the blood drained from her face, replaced by a scarlet heat burning to her ears. You, of course, know exactly what you are holding. That startling softness and elasticity nearly make your mind wander. But your face maintains a look of blankness and innocence, as if you truly were just a kind junior groping in the dark with closed eyes. Not only do you not release your hand immediately, but as if to confirm what foreign object you touched, your fingertips unconsciously close, and your palm applies slight pressure with a gentle squeeze. Shh, what is this? So soft. Is this in the fitting room? Your slightly confused voice sounds in Soo-won's ear. Every word is like a heavy hammer smashing into Soo-won's nerves, which are already stretched to the limit. This innocent question is more lethal than any lewd words. Ah! After her brain had been blank for a full 3 seconds, it was finally pulled back to reality by this question. A short, extremely suppressed scream escapes her throat, her body jerking as if struck by a current. An unimaginable sense of shame erupts like a volcano, instantly rushing to the top of her head, burning her entire being into a scorching red. He touched it, and he even asked what it was. "Let go! You! Let go quickly!" Soo-won's voice shakes uncontrollably, tinged with a sob. She is startled and angry, yet afraid to raise her volume due to fear and shame. She wants to struggle, wants to flee, but the cramped space leaves her nowhere to hide. She looks with wide eyes at the flushed, teary-eyed woman in the mirror and the large hand of a young man covering her breast. This image nearly makes her faint. Let go? Let go of what? Your voice is full of innocence and confusion. Seemingly completely failing to understand Soo-won's panic, you say, "Auntie, I haven't found the zipper yet. Don't move around. What if my hand slips?" Along with your words, instead of pulling away, your hand moves slightly again, as if searching for that so-called zipper. Every bit of that subtle friction is like a flame touching Soo-won's sensitive nerve endings, making her whole body shiver. No, not there. You've got it wrong. Take it away. Soo-won is dying of shame, tears already uncontrollably pooling in her eyes. She reaches out to push her hand away, but as soon as her arm rises, the awkward posture pulls the muscles in her back. The half-open dress seems to slide down a bit more, making her even more desperate. Got it wrong? You finally stop your movements, your tone carrying a hint of realization. Then, as if you finally realized what was under your palm, your voice stops abruptly. You quickly pull your hand back as if burned, your tone full of panic and apology. "So, sorry, Auntie Soo. I really didn't mean to. I didn't see anything." The moment the palm leaves, the skin seems to still retain the temperature of your palm. Soo-won feels as if she has been depleted of strength. Her body goes soft, and she slides down slowly against the mirror. However, before she can catch her breath, your voice, full of sincerity and panic, rings out again. "Auntie, are you all right? I should still help you pull the zipper up. Otherwise, you really can't go out like this." Without waiting for Soo-won's reaction, your hand reaches out again. No, your hand is suspended in mid-air, aimed clearly at her. Your sincerity and panic, in Soo-won's eyes now, are more unsettling than any flippant expression. Letting you grope in the dark with closed eyes again? The thought of that warm hand on her breast and the innocent, "What is this?" so soft makes Soo-won's blood rush to her head again. Her whole body feels ignited, and even her toes curl in extreme shame. No, absolutely not. That feeling, that image. If it happens again, she feels she will truly go crazy. But without his help, she would be trapped here forever in this disheveled state. The guide is nowhere to be found, and her old clothes are gone. She is in a total dead end. Two choices are before her, each more embarrassing and humiliating than the last. Let him continue groping in the dark. Heaven knows where that hand might accidentally touch next. Or let him open his eyes and expose her most pathetic, most unseemly side to this man's gaze. The air seems to freeze. Every second feels like a century. Suwon can clearly hear her own breathing intermingling with yours, and her heart nearly jumping out of her chest. Finally, in the despair of dead silence, Suwon gives up all struggle. She closes her eyes and, as if using every ounce of strength, squeezes out a few shattered mosquito-like syllables from the depths of her throat. You open your eyes. These few words seem to drain all her strength. After speaking, she leans against the mirror in total exhaustion, head lowered, not daring to look at her reflection, much less the man's reaction behind her. She feels like a prisoner about to be publicly executed, voluntarily offering herself to the guillotine. Your movement pauses, appearing surprised by Suwon's decision. Your tone carries a perfectly timed hesitation. Auntie, that might not be appropriate. Your thoughtfulness and hesitation become the last straw that breaks Suwon's mental defenses. I told you to open them, so open them! Suwon's voice suddenly spikes for a moment. Otherwise, where else do you intend to touch? You are silent for 2 seconds. Then, through the corner of her eye in the mirror, Suwon feels the man behind her slowly, and seemingly very reluctantly, open his closed eyes. The moment your vision clears, even though you had rehearsed this countless times in your mind, your breath inevitably hitches. The scene before you is far more impactful than you imagined. The large dressing mirror reflects a breathtakingly beautiful woman. The sapphire blue silk dress hangs half off her smooth, flawless back fully exposed to the air. The soft lights cast an ivory glow on her delicate skin. Her waist is slender, curving down into a heart-pounding curve of her hips. Her cheeks are dyed a moving crimson from extreme shame. Those eyes, usually gentle and tired, are now shimmering with tears, looking at the floor helplessly. Her long lashes tremble like butterfly wings. Mature charm and maiden-like shyness, these two opposite temperaments merge perfectly on her, forming a nearly cruel, fatal temptation. This is no middle-aged woman worn down by life. She is a peerless pearl whose brilliance was hidden by time, now quietly brushing away the dust before you to reveal a heart-stopping radiance. Your Adam's apple rolls unconsciously, and the apology and panic in your eyes fade, replaced by a nearly real, heartfelt awe and admiration. Auntie Sue, your voice is softer than ever before. Hearing your voice, Suwon's body stiffens. She instinctively clenches her fists, waiting for the coming judgment. However, what she receives is a sentence that leaves her completely stunned. You are so beautiful. This compliment carries no flippancy, no teasing, only a pure, heartfelt exclamation, as if shocked by the sight before you. Target, Suwon. Heartbeat value, 40%. Loneliness value, 75%. Suwon snaps her head up and meets your gaze in the mirror. Those clear eyes contain no mockery as she expected, only a pure admiration, as if appreciating a work of art. In an instant, Suwon's brain goes blank again. All the shyness, anger, and embarrassment seem to be washed away by this sudden, sincere praise. In its place is a flutter and panic as a woman that she had forgotten for a long, long time. How many years has it been since someone said something like this to her? Her cheeks go boom, roasting even hotter than before, but this time, it isn't just from shame. She turns her gaze away in a mess, not even daring to look at the mirror. You say no more. You know that too much is as bad as too little. You reach out, this time with precise and steady movements, and your fingers gently pinch the small metal zipper head, lightly brushing against her warm and delicate back skin. Suwon's body gives another subtle shiver. Zip. With a soft sound, the zipper is pulled up steadily. That imaginative snowy scenery is covered inch by inch. As the zipper closes, that heart-pounding scenery is completely hidden. The extreme tension in the fitting room seems to relax by half. However, Suwon's heartbeat shows no signs of settling. Her vision, after a brief period of losing focus, finally and uncontrollably falls on the large dressing mirror. The mirror reflects a woman she is intimately familiar with, yet who is so strange it makes her heart flutter. The sapphire blue silk dress, Like a flow of azure sky, it perfectly envelops her mature, full body. The color makes her skin look even whiter than snow, as if it would glow under the soft lights. The perfectly designed waist. Is this really me? Suwon's mind is blank as she stares at her reflection. The woman in the mirror has shimmering eyes, her red lips slightly parted in confusion, exuding an innocent temptation. Where is the middle-aged woman who ties an apron and spins in cooking fumes every day, worn down by trivialities? She is a peerless beauty, carefully carved by time. The hidden allure and elegance in her bones were ruthlessly brought out by this luxurious dress, giving her a heart-stopping sense of unfamiliarity. Just as Suwon is lost in thought, a gentle and focused gaze snaps her back. She suddenly realizes Xiao Qinyun is still here. You didn't leave. You are standing right behind her, quietly and undisguisedly admiring her through the mirror. Suwon's heart beats wildly again, and the blush that had just faded returns to her cheeks. She instinctively wants to hide, to find something to cover herself, but in this small space, she has nowhere to run. She is forced to meet his gaze in the mirror, a gaze that is pure and focused, without a hint of malice, only a thick admiration and awe, as if looking at a long-lost, peerless treasure. I knew it. Your voice breaks the ambiguous silence. You look at her in the mirror and say softly, "This dress was born for you." This compliment is more lethal than the previous, "You are so beautiful." It isn't just praising her, it's affirming his judgment, affirming that he saw through her plain exterior to her true beauty from the very beginning. Suwon's heart is in a total mess. She panics and looks away, her fingers nervously twisting the edge of the dress, her voice faint as a mosquito's. It's too expensive. And I'm too flashy wearing this. No. Your tone carries a certainty that brooks no argument. You take a half step forward, instantly closing the distance between you. The fresh scent on you envelops her more clearly. Flashy? Your laughter rings in Suwon's ear as you shake your head gently. No, Auntie, you're wrong. Suwon is forced to meet his eyes in the mirror. Those eyes are deep and focused, like a whirlpool intended to suck in her soul. A garment, no matter how expensive or how magnificent its design, is just an expensive piece of fabric without a soul if it doesn't meet the right owner. It is you who gave it life. You look at the gorgeous but bewildered woman in the mirror, the awe in your voice thick. It is the elegance settled by your years, the gentleness hidden in your bones, that truly made this dress come alive. This charm is something those 20-something girls could never wear no matter what. It isn't making you flashy. It is announcing to the world how lucky it is to be worn by you. These words are like a thunderclap exploding in Suwon's mind. She is completely stunned. It is you who gave it life. This charm is something those 20-something girls could never wear. All these years she had grown used to the trivialities of life, used to being an unkempt, aging, middle-aged woman. Age and aging were the deepest insecurities and fears in her heart. But in your mouth, the things she thought were flaws turned out to be the most unique, irreplaceable strengths. Your words are more subversive than any "you are so beautiful." They directly smash the thick shell of inferiority in Suwon's heart, making her face her value and charm as a mature woman for the first time. Her heart is pounding wildly. Looking at the woman being praised so unreservedly by Xiao Qinyun, a strange, nearly shivering confidence begins to sprout from the depths of her soul. She opens her mouth but finds she cannot say a word. She can only stare at you, her eyes shimmering with tears, full of shock and confusion. Target: Suwon. Heartbeat value: 50%. Loneliness value: 75%. Seeing the timing is right, the admiration in your eyes doesn't fade, but adds a hint of expectation. Your smile is gentle as you step back half a pace, creating a bit of distance and alleviating the extreme pressure. You turn sideways, your gaze falling on the other luxury gowns hanging nearby, and say with an expectant tone, "Every dress has its own style, just as everyone has different sides. Auntie, I want to see a different version of you." Your voice carries a soul-capturing power that Suwon cannot refuse. Or rather, after the shock she just experienced, she has completely lost the ability to think or refuse. Her mind is blank, with only your phrase, "I want to see a different version of you," echoing repeatedly. She instinctively follows your gaze to those equally magnificent dresses, and a secret expectation she hadn't even noticed herself begins to rise. Perhaps Perhaps I really can be different. You exit the fitting room, but you don't go far. You know very well that Su-won will soon ask for help again. Sure enough, not a minute later, a slight rustling comes from the fitting room, followed by Su-won's extremely shy and struggling voice, nearly inaudible. Kinyun. Her voice is like a feather, lightly brushing against the tip of one's heart. The dress. It seems it's not working again. The smile on your lips flashes and vanishes, replaced by an expression of helplessness and concern. You don't answer immediately, giving her a few seconds to suffer in that embarrassment. Only when you hear the increasingly rapid breathing of the person inside do you walk over unhurriedly and tap gently. Auntie, still can't pull it up? A muffled response comes from inside. Then I'll do the same as before? Your voice carries an inquiring tone, as if asking for her permission. This time, the silence inside is much shorter. That silence is no longer pure shame and resistance, but mixed with tacit consent and an expectation she doesn't dare admit even to herself. Finally, her voice comes from inside, as if accepting her fate. You don't have to close your eyes. Receiving the instruction that you don't have to close your eyes, you respond and push the door open, squeezing in sideways again. In the small space, the ambiguous atmosphere is even thicker than before. Su-won still has her back to you, but this time, she isn't clutching her arms tightly. Her hands hang helplessly at her sides, allowing her smooth back and another dress of a different color but equal beauty to be presented before Xiao Qinyun. This is a lotus root pink long dress. The style is much gentler than the sapphire blue one, but it hides clever details. The sheer puff sleeves make her skin look like jade, and the back design also requires the zipper to go quite high. Your gaze is now completely undisguised. You pull the zipper up smoothly and quickly, then focus on admiring the woman in the mirror. It is an admiration that is nearly greedy but restrained by good upbringing. You don't speak, just stand there, staring at her through the mirror with a gaze that is nearly greedy yet incomparably pure. At this moment, silence speaks louder than words. That look, as if wanting to devour her, makes Su-won's heart pound wildly. She instinctively follows his gaze to her reflection. Lotus root pink was her favorite color when she was young, but she hasn't dared touch it for many years. She always thought this color belonged to young girls, and wearing it at her age would only invite laughter. But the woman in the mirror wears this gentle color with a different kind of charm. Unlike the sapphire blue's noble coldness, it highlights the gentle and submissive temperament in her bones to the extreme. The tailoring perfectly fits her figure, making her look like she has the plump charm of a mature woman while also carrying a maiden-like delicacy and innocence. Especially the moving blush on her face from shyness and panic. She looks like a ripe peach waiting to be picked. If the blue dress made her see a stunning, strange version of herself, then this pink dress makes her see an extremely gentle version of herself. So I can look this good in this color. A sense of unprecedented satisfaction and confidence grows wildly in Su-won's heart. Being watched by you like this, she no longer feels only pure shyness, but a secret joy from being admired. Xiao Qinyun. Su-won finally finds her voice, though it shakes badly. Don't look. Auntie. You interrupt her, taking a step forward to close the distance again. You stare at the woman in the mirror with peach blossom cheeks and spring-like eyes, your voice deep and husky, carrying an irresistible magic. Do you know? There is a type of woman whose beauty cannot be taken by time. Time only adds charm to her. You pause, locking your eyes deeply onto hers, saying word by word, "You are like aged red wine. You need to be tasted slowly." At first taste, one might not notice, but once you taste it, that richness and fragrance are enough to make one reminisce for a lifetime, to be intoxicated until death. Red wine. These words Su-won wouldn't even dare imagine in her dreams are now spoken so naturally and sincerely by you. The woman in the mirror has eyes like flowing waves. That charm, forcibly suppressed for half a lifetime, can no longer be hidden at this moment. She looks at the familiar yet strange self in the mirror, and the young man behind her with deep eyes and scorching words. An unprecedented, violent palpitation seizes her. Kinyun. Su-won's voice shakes beyond recognition. She wants you to back away, wants you to stop talking, but her words are so weak they have no power. Don't say anymore. Why not? Your fingertips lightly stroke her delicate nape, your voice carrying a hint of a teasing smile. Someone as beautiful as you. Every extra glance is an enjoyment. I think it's not just me. Any man who saw you would have the same thought. Your words make Su-won's heart skip another beat. She instinctively raises her hand to cover her burning cheeks, but sees her own arm in the mirror against the sheer fabric, skin white and lines soft. At this moment, she suddenly finds it hard to believe. Is this really her? Is she really as good as he says? She feels her legs as if they've been drained of all strength, suddenly going soft, her whole person falling backward uncontrollably. Ah! A short cry escapes her lips, just as she thinks she will fall pathetically to the floor. A powerful arm, fast as lightning yet incredibly gentle, wraps around her slender waist, bringing her wobbling body into a firm and warm embrace. Auntie Su, what's wrong? Your concerned and slightly panicked voice sounds above her head. Su-won freezes. She has fallen into your arms, her back pressed tightly against your scorching chest. Through the thin clothing, she can even feel your steady, powerful heartbeat. A fresh and extremely masculine scent aggressively enters her nose, completely enveloping her. This is a feeling she has never experienced, being completely controlled by a young and powerful male. Panic, shyness, and a sense of security she doesn't dare admit even to herself. She looks up in a daze, her vision crashing into a pair of deep eyes. Those eyes are now filled with undisguised worry and concern, so clear they show no impurities, as if her slip-up truly worried him to death. Su-won's heart is pounding wildly, almost leaping from her throat. She looks at your handsome face so close by, and the sincere concern in your eyes. An unprecedented panic seizes her. She wants to push him away, to flee from this embrace that makes her suffocate, but her body cannot find a shred of strength. Your arm is like an iron hoop, firmly imprisoning her, yet so gentle, it doesn't hurt her in the slightest. Target Su-won, heartbeat value, 60%. Loneliness value, 78%. You clearly see the heartbeat value jump up significantly the moment she falls into your arms. You don't let go, but instead slightly tighten your arm to let her lean more steadily against you, the concern in your tone growing thicker. Have you been standing too long? Your face is so red, and it's very hot. Is something uncomfortable? Su-won's mind is blank. That question, is something uncomfortable, makes her heart tremble. Uncomfortable? She doesn't know. She only feels as if she is in the center of a scorching whirlpool, firmly held by a powerful and strange force, unable to break free. Your chest is firm as a wall, yet carries a burning temperature. That steady, powerful heartbeat, thump, thump, feels as if it's not hitting your chest, but hers, making her own heartbeat lose its rhythm completely. She wants to say let go, but her throat feels blocked by cotton, only able to make broken sounds. She wants to struggle, but the arm around her waist seems to have magic, carrying an irresistible force, yet being so gentle she cannot summon a thought of resistance. Finally, under the gaze of those deep eyes full of pure concern, Su-won gives up all resistance. She can only weakly and lightly shake her head. This subtle movement, in your eyes, becomes a signal of tacit consent. You see her so panicked she lost her senses. That weak appearance of letting you control her makes the last shred of hesitation in your heart vanish. You don't release your arm, but instead use the momentum to straighten her up, letting her lean against the mirror, yet the distance between you remains extremely close. You lean down, your warm breath brushing against her sensitive earlobe, saying softly, Auntie Su, there are many more clothes over there. We'll try them one by one. Take it slow, no hurry. Before Su-won can recover from the warm breath and ambiguous words, she feels a warm, large hand has already pressed back against her back. Su-won's body freezes, her breathing stopping instantly. That hand does no extra movement, only following her beautiful spine line to accurately find the metal zipper head that was just pulled up. Then, in a heart-pounding dead silence, accompanied by your gentle sigh that seems to carry a hint of apology, zip. A sound exactly opposite to the previous one rings out. That recently closed scenery is ruthlessly pulled open inch by you. That imaginative snowy skin is exposed before you again without defense, and this time it is more complete and all-encompassing than before. She freezes completely, her blood seeming to solidify for an instant before rushing back to her head the next second, making her vision go dark. She wants to scream, to push you away, to curse this bold young man with the most vicious words, but all resistance vanishes into a shadow at your gentle sigh. This lotus root pink one, though gentle, still constrains you. Your voice is very soft, the warm breath brushing her ear with a hint of regret as if for a work of art. Constrains? Suwon's mind is a chaos, completely unable to understand the meaning of the word. She only feels a pair of warm, large hands with an irresistible force, gently resting on her shoulders. Then, that lotus root pink dress that made her see an extremely gentle version of herself follows the trajectory of your palms and is ruthlessly peeled from her rounded shoulders. No! Suwon's refusal is so quiet she can hardly hear it herself. Her body is resisting, her soul is screaming, but her limbs are like they've been filled with lead, too heavy to lift. She can only watch helplessly through the large mirror, reflecting everything as that magnificent dress slides inch by inch away from her body. Thud. The pink dress piles at her feet under the soft lights. Suwon stands naked. An unprecedented, extreme sense of shame, like a burst dam, instantly swallows her. Her whole body is shaking, her skin turning a moving pink from exposure to the air. She instinctively raises her arms, wanting to embrace herself and cover this body that is no longer young yet still full of charm. Suwon's head, boom, explodes completely. Her blood rushes up, making her dizzy, her legs going soft and nearly unable to stand. What am I doing? In front of my son's classmate. I've taken off everything. He is right in front of me, watching me, and I actually didn't stop him. I actually didn't even have the strength to push him away. An unprecedented feeling, mixed with extreme shame and stimulation, passes through her body like an electric current. Target, Suwon. Heartbeat value, 85%. Loneliness value, 80%. Looking at those skyrocketing values, the smile at the corner of your mouth becomes deeper. You know that this volcano, imprisoned for too long by life and years, has reached the eve of a total eruption. Auntie Sue, you tighten your arms, making her soft body press more closely against you, then gently rest your chin on her shoulder. Your warm breath accurately brushes her sensitive ear and slender neck, bringing shivers that make her scalp tingle. Look at the mirror. Your voice carries a hypnotic magic. Suwon lifts her head in a daze, her vision falling uncontrollably on the huge mirror. In the mirror, an image that makes her soul tremble enters her sight. A gorgeous, mature woman, completely unclothed, her snowy skin glowing with an inviting pink luster under the lights. And behind her, a young, handsome man is intimately embracing her, those deep eyes containing not a shred of lust, but only an infatuation and awe, as if appreciating a peerless treasure. This is simply... Suwon's head, thump, loses all ability to think. She looks at the woman in the mirror, completely controlled by the man, her expression shy and intoxicated, yet exuding a fatal charm. For a moment she cannot tell if it is herself. Look, do you see? Your lips are nearly touching her earlobe, your warm breath making her body go soft as you say softly, "This is the real you." Stripped of all constraints, so beautiful it takes one's breath away. Your arm uses slight force to completely fix her in your embrace. Your gaze, however, remains focused on the mirror, like a most devout artist admiring his most perfect work. Every inch of skin is like the finest mutton-fat jade, telling the story of the years. These rounded shoulders, these beautiful curves, and this blush from shyness, combined together, they are not something those green girls can compare to. This is a mature fragrance enough to make any man go crazy. Every word of yours is like the most potent poison, injected directly into the depths of Suwon's soul through her ears. The shame in her body is fading rapidly, replaced by an unprecedented, extreme satisfaction of being recognized and admired, and the secret pleasure that follows, guilty yet irresistible. So this body that is no longer young is so perfect in his eyes. So the things I was always insecure about are the charms that infatuate him. The woman in the mirror has flowing eyes, her beautiful pupils shimmering. That charm, forcibly suppressed for half a lifetime, is completely ignited at this moment, flowing out uncontrollably. You feel the body in your arms completely softening. Looking at those eyes in the mirror that have lost focus, leaving only blurriness and peach blossom spring colors, you know the final moment has arrived. Suwon feels that large hand, which was originally around her slender waist, move slowly with an irresistible gentleness. Finally, the long fingers gently pinch her smooth jaw. Suwon's body gives a sudden jolt, a trace of clarity struggling to emerge from that chaotic sea of desire. But before she can make any reaction, you have already used gentle force to slowly and tenderly turn her face. Eyes meet, still that pure infatuation and awe. That deep gentleness is like a warm ocean, instantly drowning her last bit of pathetic reason. Her mind is a blank. She can only watch with wide eyes as that young, handsome face enlarges before her, seeing her own panicked, shy, yet secretly expectant face clearly reflected in those deep eyes. Then, warm lips with a fresh scent accurately cover her red lips. MMPH, Suwon's head, boom, explodes completely. All sounds, all thoughts, vanish at this moment. Reason is screaming, shouting to push him away. However, her body makes the most honest reaction. She did not push him away. Those hands that had been hanging weakly even instinctively grasped the lapel of his shirt, like a drowning person clutching the only piece of driftwood. This kiss was not rough or predatory as she imagined. Quite the opposite. It was incredibly gentle. This extreme gentleness was more lethal than any storm. It completely destroyed the last line of defense in Suwon's heart. Loneliness suppressed for 20 years, resentment for her husband's early death, fear of passing youth, and the massive satisfaction of being cherished in the palm of such an excellent young man's hand at this moment. All emotions converged into a burst dam, instantly washing away the levees of reason. She closed her eyes, a scorching tear sliding from the corner of her eye, not knowing if it was shyness, excitement, or the grievance that had finally found release. Inexperienced and trembling, she parted her lips, clumsily responding to a kiss that was enough to make her fall into an eternal abyss. Having gained her silent permission, you no longer restrained yourself. With one hand still encircling her slender waist, so thin it seemed it might break, and the other cupping the back of her head, you deepened the kiss with a blend of tenderness and dominance. Suwon felt like a fallen leaf swept up by a gale, completely losing control over her body. She could only allow herself to be intoxicated and overturned in this sudden storm. This kiss held an ultimate tenderness and dominance that she had never experienced in nearly 20 years of her lonely, desolate life. Suppressed desires buried deep in her heart were like parched wood being ignited. Once sparked, they instantly became a wildfire ravaging the plains. In her raw and clumsy response to him, nearly 20 years of loneliness, grievances, and resentment were all transformed into a moth-to-a-flame reaction. Receiving the signal of her silent consent, your kiss became increasingly deep and fiery. One hand remained firmly locking her slender waist, embedding her soft body more tightly into your embrace. The other hand, like a beast finally breaking free from all shackles, began to wantonly patrol this warm, jade-like territory it had long yearned for. Your palm slid slowly across her smooth skin. It had been too long. This body had gone far too long without being touched by a man with such love and desire. Suwon felt like a sponge left in the desert about to dry up, finally receiving the long-awaited sweet rain at this moment. Every pore was greedily and frantically absorbing this unfamiliar, yet deeply intoxicating warmth and touch. Gradually you were no longer satisfied with lingering on her smooth skin, and moved slowly upward. Finally, you covered those steamed buns that even Suwon herself rarely touched. Suwon's body suddenly stiffened. Her chaotic brain felt as if it had been struck by a bolt of lightning, bringing a momentary flash of clarity. She could feel the breath of the young man in front of the mirror becoming increasingly heavy, and your eyes, which had originally been filled with mere admiration, were now stained with a layer of desire so thick it couldn't be dissolved, carrying intense flames. She wasn't afraid of the fire, she was even somewhat infatuated with it, but she was afraid of where the fire was burning. This was a fitting room. Someone could pass by outside at any moment. If they were discovered, extreme shame and fear, like a bucket of ice water, instantly extinguished half of the fire in her heart. No, this wouldn't do. Suwon finally regained a shred of her reason. She used all her strength, trying to push away the solid, burning chest in front of her. But that bit of force was like a kitten scratching an itch. Not only did it fail to work, but it seemed more like an invitation of, quote, refusal meant as a welcome. She was so anxious, she was on the verge of tears. Her small hands tapped him feebly, and her voice carried a sob as she pleaded urgently, Kim Yoon, not here. Not here. That tearful plea caused you to stop all your actions, but you didn't let go of her immediately. That large hand covering the steamed bun remained in place. You let out a low chuckle, your lips pressed against her small earlobe, and asked teasingly, "Then, where can we?" Boom! This question made Soo-won feel even more humiliated than all the previous out-of-line actions. Her cheeks instantly turned so red, they looked ready to drip blood. Her mind went blank, and she completely lost the ability to think. Where can we? How could she know? How did she dare to think about it? I don't know. Soo-won was dying of shame, shaking her head repeatedly. She bit down hard on her lower lip, which was swollen from being kissed. Using all her strength, she whispered, Anyway, not here. Outside. Someone could come at any time." At the thought of being in this tiny fitting room with a young man about the same age as her son, doing such shameful things while someone might pass by or even push the door open, Soo-won felt she was going crazy. That extreme fear and shame made her whole body start to tremble uncontrollably. Looking at the woman in the mirror, panicked and humiliated, yet with eyes as alluring as silk, the smile at the corners of your mouth deepened. You knew if you pushed any further, the taut string would snap. There was plenty of time ahead. "Fine," you promised softly, your tone carrying a hint of doting helplessness as you finally let go of her. Suddenly, losing that support and restraint, Soo-won's body went limp, nearly falling to the floor. You caught her to steady her, then took half a step back, opening up that suffocating distance. You turned to take another wine-red long dress from the rack and handed it to Soo-won. Your expression had returned to its previous gentleness and purity, as if the aggressive and lustful man from a moment ago was just Soo-won's hallucination. "Auntie is right, I was too impulsive," you said with a gentle voice and a perfectly measured hint of apology. "Let's continue trying on clothes." Soo-won's cheeks were flushed crimson. Her intoxicated gaze fell on you, as you still hadn't left. You held the wine-red dress with a calm and gentle expression, as if the dominant man who had left her powerless was just a dream. But the residual heat and numbness on her lips reminded her every second of how real and soul-stirring everything that just happened was. "Why haven't you gone out yet?" Soo-won's voice was as thin as a mosquito's buzz, carrying a hint of coquettishness and bashfulness she hadn't even noticed herself. Her heart was a tangled mess of yarn. She both hoped you would disappear immediately so she could escape this extreme shame, but deep in her heart, a voice was secretly shouting, longing for you to stay. You looked at her, ashamed and afraid, yet possessing that alluring, soul-stirring gaze, and the corners of your lips curled into a natural, subtle smile. "Auntie Soo." You took half a step closer, that highly aggressive masculine scent enveloping her once again. You said softly, "We've already kissed. What is there to be shy about?" Your voice wasn't loud, but it hit Soo-won's heart like a bolt of lightning. "Yes, we've already kissed, and even his large hand has gripped my. If I make him leave now and keep being secretive, would it seem too pretentious?" This thought, like a wild seed, instantly took root and sprouted in her chaotic heart. A sense of giving up on herself, mixed with an unprecedented thrill, made her whole body start to burn. Soo-won bit her swollen lower lip in shame, her teeth sinking in so deep, she almost drew blood. She didn't dare look into your eyes, which seemed able to see through everything. She only reached out a trembling hand to take the wine-red long dress from you. She didn't speak again, nor did she look at you. Under your undisguised, focused, and burning gaze, Soo-won seemed to accept her fate and slowly turned around. She didn't turn her back to you completely. Instead, she stood sideways, as if keeping a final shred of dignity, yet happened to display the most wonderful curves of her body to your eyes without reservation. The wine-red long dress was finally put on by Soo-won. The silky fabric clung to her warm skin. That sensation gave her chaotic brain a brief moment of clarity. She didn't dare look back, nor did she dare to breathe. She just stared fixedly at the mirror, looking at herself wrapped in that intense, fire-like red. Red was her favorite color when she was young, intense, bold, and full of vitality. But since she got married, and especially after her husband passed away, this color had completely disappeared from her world. Her father felt that at her age and with her status as a widow, wearing such a vivid color was a form of inappropriate showiness. But at this moment, the woman in the mirror was made to look as fair as snow by this shade of red. Her mature charm, rather than being suppressed, was like aged vinegar ignited by fire, emitting a soul-stirring, mellow fragrance. Beautiful. Your voice came from behind, gentle and certain, as if stating an indisputable fact. Red best compliments your beauty. You took a step forward, standing behind her. The two of you formed an intimate, yet eerie image in the mirror. You said softly, "It represents the flame in your heart that has never been extinguished." Flame. Suwon's heart suddenly constricted. She instinctively raised her hand, wanting to touch her burning cheek, but the hand froze midair. She was afraid that any extra movement would be interpreted by you as something else. However, this standoff didn't last long. You took down a dark green velvet cheongsam from the nearby rack and held it before her. "Auntie Sue, try this one." Your tone was still so gentle, with a smile that brooked no refusal. Suwon's gaze moved slowly from the mirror to that cheongsam. The dark green shimmered with a low-key yet noble luster under the lights. The cinched waistline and the side slit opening to the thigh all proclaimed its pickiness and sexiness. How can I wear this?" A sense of bashfulness rushed over her again, but this time, it lacked the overwhelming resistance from the beginning. Looking into your eyes, which were full of encouragement and expectation, the words of refusal got stuck in her throat, unable to be spoken. A strange, psychological state that she couldn't explain began to spread in her heart. Since things are already like this, since the most shameful things have already happened, what does one more matter? This thought was like a devil's whisper, making her, as if possessed, reach out her trembling hand to take the cheongsam. The second time was more composed than the first. When the wine-red dress slipped down, exposing her to you without reservation once again, although Suwon was still tense and her cheeks were red enough to drip blood, that panicked urge to flee immediately had quietly faded a few degrees. She even had a bit of spare energy to secretly use the corner of her eye to observe your reaction in the mirror. Your gaze remained focused and admiring. This pure admiration strangely soothed Suwon's inner shame and panic. She began to try and see herself through your eyes. When that dark green cheongsam wrapped around her body, Suwon looked at the mirrored version of herself, curves fully revealed and full of charm. For the first time, she didn't feel inferior or out of place. Instead, a strange sense of pride emerged. It turned out this no longer young body of hers could still be so moving. The graceful swan neck and delicate collarbones looked exceptionally tempting under the cheongsam's small stand-up collar. She even unconsciously turned her body to a slight angle, letting the waist-hip curve, perfectly outlined by the cheongsam, be displayed even more vividly in the mirror. Your breathing hitched for a moment. You looked at the woman in the mirror who seemed to have been instantly injected with a soul. The admiration in your eyes was stained with a burning flame. You didn't speak, but silently stepped forward to hand her the third piece, the fourth piece, the fifth piece, each more daring than the last, and each more capable of highlighting her mature charm. And Suwon went from passive acceptance to eventually developing a secret sense of expectation. She looked forward to seeing that undisguised shock and obsession in your eyes the moment she put on the new clothes. The small space of the fitting room seemed to have become a stage belonging to her alone. She gradually stopped dodging and hiding. When the last black lace camisole dress was handed over, Suwon didn't even hesitate. She turned around calmly and, right in front of you, slowly let the cheongsam fall from her body. Her movements carried a sort of all-in composure. Even when undoing the frog buttons, her fingertips intentionally brushed across her delicate neck. It was no longer just a simple change of clothes, but a silent, fatal temptation. She could clearly feel that gaze behind her becoming hotter and hotter, as if it were going to burn through her back. This made her feel incredibly ashamed, yet incredibly satisfied. Putting on that black lace dress, Suwon slowly turned around. For the first time, actively and completely, she faced you in the mirror directly. The woman in the mirror had skin that was visible through the black lace. The fullness and charm settled by time were brought to their peak by this bold dress. Suwon looked at herself in the mirror, and then at the young man in the mirror, whose eyes had turned as dark as the sea. Her face still bore a bashful blush, but the corners of her mouth uncontrollably curled into a shallow smile she hadn't even noticed. She raised her hand and slowly tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear, her fingertips intentionally or unintentionally touching her small earlobe. This movement caused the proud fullness of her chest, wrapped in black lace, to heave slightly, tracing a soul-stirring curve under the lights. In the mirror, Two uncontrollable flames ignited in the young man's eyes. Suwon's heart pounded wildly. Being gazed at with such a look, an extreme sense of shame and satisfaction intertwined, making her legs weak and nearly unable to stand. She looked at her own face in the mirror, flushed like the sunset, eyes as seductive as silk, and a thought unfamiliar even to herself emerged as if by magic. "Does it look good?" Her voice was very soft, with a trace of undetectable trembling, like a feather lightly brushing against your tensed nerves. "It looks good," your Adam's apple bobbed as you praised her. You could no longer maintain that restraint and composure of admiring a work of art. The woman in the mirror was a ripened fruit waiting to be plucked, a vortex capable of completely swallowing a person's reason. You stepped forward almost instinctively, that solid, burning chest once again pressed against her delicate back. A pair of iron arms wrapped around from behind, wanting to knead this body that drove you crazy into your own blood and bone. Simultaneously, you lowered your head, your burning lips about to cover her tempting red lips once again. Just at the moment the lips were about to touch, a slender, slightly cool finger lightly pressed against your lips. The movement was gentle, yet it carried an indisputable meaning. Your movement suddenly stalled, and the fire in your eyes grew more surging, nearly bursting forth. You saw the woman in your arms turn her face slightly, those peach blossom eyes shimmering like water, held panic, shame, and deeper down, a hint of allure that you could understand. Suwon's heart was beating so hard it felt like it would leap out of her throat. The burning temperature and thick scent of the man behind her made her whole body go soft. She didn't dare look at him, only letting her gaze fall on an empty point to the side. Using all her strength, she whispered, "Kin-yun, not here." That sentence, "not here," nearly exhausted all of Suwon's strength and reason. She was like a startled rabbit, breathing slightly, her water-clear peach blossom eyes looking at the man before her, in panic. She didn't dare to look, yet she was unable to look away. The air in the fitting room seemed to solidify. Every second felt stretched into a lingering torment. You didn't take another step forward, nor did you step back. You just stood there in front of her, maintaining a distance that was inches away yet without touching. Those deep eyes gazed at her gently and intently. The surging flames within didn't extinguish because of her weak resistance, but instead burned more intensely and purely. It was an undisguised, naked desire, not for a piece of clothing, nor for a concept, but for her, for the person Suwon, a comprehensive desire from body to soul. You didn't speak, but that look was hotter and more aggressive than any words. Under this silent gaze, Suwon's heart beat more and more wildly, almost breaking free from her chest. She could feel the blush on her face spreading to the tips of her ears, even her slender neck was stained with a moving shade of pink. Just as she thought she would faint from this extreme shame and tension, you finally spoke slowly and softly, "I want to kiss you." Not a question, not a request, but a certain statement. These words were like a bolt of lightning and a warm current, crashing hard into the deepest part of Suwon's heart. She froze entirely. 20 years of suppressed loneliness and self-denial were completely shattered at this moment by your simple, direct words. It turned out that this no longer young body, this long-withered heart, could still make such an outstanding young man feel such intense, undisguised desire for her. An unprecedented, unfamiliar sense of pride, like spring bamboo shoots breaking through the soil, surged up from the depths of her heart. This pride instantly surpassed the fear and overshadowed the shame, turning into a fatal sense of satisfaction that made her head spin. She looked at the fire in your eyes. That fire was burning for her. She looked at your bobbing Adam's apple. That desire was caused by her. Suwon was so ashamed she almost bit through her lower lip, yet in the depths of her eyes, the ignited passion could no longer be hidden. Reason and emotion were in a frantic battle. After an unknown amount of time, as long as a century, she finally lowered her eyes slightly under Xiao Qin-yun's increasingly burning gaze. Her long eyelashes were like butterfly wings, trembling and casting a small shadow. She hesitated for a moment, and finally, as if using all her strength, squeezed out a voice as thin as a mosquito's buzz from her throat. "Just, you can only kiss me once, okay?" You didn't say another word, but slowly lowered your head with a kind of almost religious cherishing. Suwon's heart rate reached its peak. She could clearly hear the blood roaring in her ears. She instinctively closed her eyes, her long curled lashes trembling like startled butterfly wings. Then, a warm, soft touch with a refreshing scent precisely covered her red lips, which were also trembling. MMPH. Suwon's head exploded with a bang. All sounds, all thoughts, all struggle and shame drifted away at this moment. This kiss wasn't as rough and full of plunder as she had imagined. On the contrary, it was incredibly gentle. You just pressed lightly, lingering, as if tasting a rare treasure, cautious, patient, and soothing. This ultimate tenderness was more lethal than any storm. It completely demolished the defensive line in Suwon's heart called reason, built over 20 years. The suppressed loneliness of nearly 20 years, the resentment over her husband's early death, the fear of passing youth, and the immense satisfaction of being cherished in the palm of such an outstanding young man at this moment. All these emotions gathered together, turning into a bursting flood that instantly swept away all her reservations. She was no longer that law-abiding widow, no longer that middle-aged woman burdened by life. At this moment, she was just Suwon, a woman longing to be loved, longing to be embraced, longing to be ignited. She rawly opened her lips, swollen from being kissed, clumsily responding to this kiss that was enough to make her fall into an eternal abyss. This tiny movement became the clearest signal. You felt her change from stiffness to total softening, feeling her raw, yet incredibly honest response. The tenderness in your eyes was instantly replaced by a more fiery flame. You no longer restrained yourself. The originally gentle kiss turned into a deep exploration. One hand remained dominantly encircling her slender waist, embedding her soft body more tightly into your embrace. The other hand cupped the back of her head, deepening the kiss gently yet forcefully. Suwon completely lost the ability to think. Like a drowning person, she gave up all struggle. She unconsciously raised her hands, tightly grasping the lapels of your shirt. Her body instinctively cooperated with you, offering everything she had without reservation to this man who made her taste ultimate joy. Inside the fitting room, the air was burning and silent, except for the faint sound of lips and teeth entangling and the increasingly heavy breathing of two people. Suwon had completely forgotten where she was and the passing of time, immersing herself heart and soul in this fever that had arrived 20 years late, a fever enough to burn her to ashes. Just as she was about to be swallowed by this overwhelming joy, a sharp phone ringtone exploded without warning in the small space. Ring, 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 ring. You, whose life was destroyed by your brother in the previous life, not only were not angry, but instead engaged in deep communication with his mother. From then on, his mother fell in love with communicating with you. Even his sister and sister-in-law were willing to duo-Q with you. Just as the two were about to start their revelry, the phone rang at an inopportune time. This abrupt sound was like a sharp knife, instantly piercing the burning barrier woven of desire and emotion between the two. Suwon's body gave a violent jolt, as if she had been doused with a bucket of ice water. Her chaotic brain instantly cleared. As if struck by an electric shock, she suddenly pushed you away, retreating in a panic until her back hit the cold wall heavily, making a dull thud. My phone! Her voice was shaking, and the blush on her cheeks faded several degrees due to fright as she looked everywhere for her phone. After being pushed away, you weren't angry. You just stood there, the flames in your deep eyes not yet fully receded, watching her composedly as she fumbled through her bag. The ringtone kept ringing persistently, and in the silent fitting room, every ring felt like a public execution for Suwon. She finally pulled out the phone. When she saw the name Chen Hao flashing on the screen, her heart nearly stopped. The phone almost slipped from her trembling hand. It was her son. It was a call from her son. An unprecedented wave of fear and guilt, like a surging tide, instantly submerged her. Just now, she and her son's friend were in this fitting room where someone could walk in at any time. Suwon didn't dare think further. She pinched her palm with her fingernails, forcing herself to calm down. Taking a deep breath, she slid her trembling finger to answer. Hello, how's he? As soon as her voice came out, she startled herself. It was dry and hoarse, with an undisguised breathiness. She quickly cleared her throat, trying to make her tone sound normal. What's wrong? Mom is shopping with Chin Yun. While she was talking to her son with a racing heart, you, as if fearing the thrill wasn't enough, actually stepped forward slowly, closing in on her again. You didn't speak, but just lowered your head, pressing your warm lips almost imperceptibly against her sensitive ear, your hot breath puffing against the side of her neck. Suwon's body instantly stiffened, and all the blood rushed to her head. She widened her eyes in terror, tightly covering the phone's receiver, terrified that her heartbeat and rapid breathing would be heard by her son on the other end. "This madman!" Okay, Mom knows. You don't need to worry about me." Suwon dealt with her son incoherently, wanting only to end this call that made her soul scatter. Okay. Let's leave it at that. Hanging up now." She ended the call quickly. Suwon felt as if all her strength had been drained. Her body was soft as she panted heavily, her chest heaving violently. Those few dozen seconds just now were more soul-stirring than her past 20 years. She looked up, her water-clear, peach-blossom eyes full of shame and lingering fear, about to scold this daring man. "But you didn't give her the chance." "Auntie, you looked so beautiful just now," you whispered, the fire in your eyes burning fiercely once again. You lowered your head, and those burning lips were about to cover her swollen lips again. Suwon shuddered in fright, shrinking back like a startled rabbit. Using all her strength, she raised her hands against your chest. "No, it won't do!" She shook her head in panic, her tear-filled peach-blossom eyes full of pleading. She whispered, "We can't kiss anymore." You paused and raised an eyebrow, seemingly waiting for her explanation. Under your gaze, Suwon's cheeks burned, and she was so ashamed she almost cried. She bit her lower lip hard, and finally gathered the courage to squeeze out a sentence in a voice like a mosquito. We agreed. Only one kiss. You didn't speak, but just used those deep eyes that seemed capable of sucking in one's soul, to quietly look at Suwon. That gaze was too burning, too focused, like an invisible net enveloping her entirely. Suwon was flustered by your gaze. The heat on her cheeks almost ignited her. She unconsciously bit her slightly swollen lip, her teeth sinking into the soft flesh, bringing a faint sting that did nothing to soothe her inner turmoil. She knew that her "we agreed only one kiss" sounded incredibly weak in this context, more like a coquettish refusal meant as a welcome. The air was thick with ambiguity and heat. Every second felt like being roasted over a slow fire. Finally, in this suffocating silence, Suwon was completely defeated. As if gathering a lifetime's worth of courage, or as if being bewitched, she stood slightly on her tiptoes and proactively, quickly, gave a light bite to the lips that made her surrender. We really can't stay in this fitting room any longer," Suwon pleaded, her voice against your lips, thin as a mosquito and carrying a sob. Her water-clear eyes were full of alarm and bashfulness. Hearing her soft, waxy plea and seeing her look, both proactively intimate and terrified, the fire and laughter in your eyes intertwined, and you finally let out a low laugh. You didn't push her further, but obediently stepped back half a step, creating a bit of distance. That smile held a trace of lazy satisfaction after getting your way. You said softly, "Fine, I'll listen to you." You didn't say anything more. You turned to pick up a dress Suwon had tried on earlier, a simply designed navy blue dress. The style was relatively conservative, wrapping the body just right to highlight a mature woman's elegance without being overly revealing. This seemed like a silent concession and reassurance. Suwon looked at the dress in your hand, then at your gentle-as-ever expression. The string in her heart, stretched to its limit by fear and shame, finally loosened slightly. However, before she could catch her breath, you walked up to her again with the dress. "I'll help you change." Again, not a question, but a matter-of-fact statement. Suwon's pupils constricted. Just as she was about to retreat, you had already leaned down, your hands pinching the shoulder straps of the black lace dress she was wearing. Suwon froze completely. She watched in the mirror as the tall young man focused intently and cautiously on putting the new clothes on the naked version of herself in the mirror. When the dress zipper was slowly pulled up and that perfect sense of being covered gave her a sliver of false security, you didn't step away. You still clung to her from behind, lowering your head to puff hot breath against her ear once more. Suwon's body shuddered, and she instinctively tried to dodge. At that moment, you blew a gentle breeze into her ear and said softly, "Auntie Sue, tonight, can I go to your room to find you?" Boom! Suwon's brain went completely blank. All the blood in her body seemed to rush to her head at this moment, then recede entirely in the next. She knew exactly what that sentence meant. It was a taboo abyss she had never thought of and never dared to cross. Refuse him. Quickly refuse him. Reason screamed frantically in her mind. But her body felt as if all the bones had been removed, and she went completely limp. If you hadn't been circling her from behind, she probably would have slid to the floor immediately. She didn't even have the strength to speak, only using a pair of mist-filled peach blossom eyes to look helplessly and pitifully at the man behind her, who held her firmly in his control. In that look, there was terror, shame, and pleading, yet not a single trace of true resistance. You looked at her in the mirror, this ready-to-be-plucked appearance, and the smile in your eyes grew deeper. You knew the timing was right. You didn't push further, just rested your chin lightly on her shoulder, feeling her slight trembling. The corner of your mouth curled into a victorious arc as you whispered in her ear in an almost commanding tone, "Auntie Sue, if you don't speak, I'll take it as you've agreed." After speaking, you supported the weak-legged Soo-won and pushed open the fitting room door. The bright outside lights and air rushed in, instantly dispersing the suffocating ambiguity of that small space. Soo-won was like a startled deer in the forest, instinctively wanting to break free from your embrace, but the large hand at her waist only tightened inconspicuously. With an irresistible protective stance, you half encircled and half carried her out. The long-waiting sales assistant immediately came forward. When she saw the navy blue dress on Soo-won perfectly outlining her mature curves, and then saw Soo-won's unfaded blush and seductive eyes, along with the composed young man behind her holding her, an understanding and ambiguous smile instantly bloomed on her face. "Miss Sue, you look truly beautiful in this. I told your husband before that this dress was practically made for you. It brings out your temperament perfectly. Noble and elegant." The assistant's praise was sincere, but the tone and look made Soo-won's already burning cheeks even hotter. She felt like a student caught red-handed doing something bad, so ashamed she wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. "Your husband has such great taste." The assistant's gaze turned to you, her smile becoming even more brilliant. "Every piece he chose suits you so well. The two of you standing together are truly a handsome man and beautiful woman, a match made in heaven." Husband. A match. These words were like small hammers hitting Soo-won's heart, making her head buzz. She wanted to open her mouth to explain, to say, "He isn't my husband," to say, but she opened her mouth and her throat felt blocked by something. Not a single word could come out. Her body was still limp and powerless. She could only lean passively against you, drawing support from your solid arm and warm chest. This appearance, in the eyes of the assistant, only confirmed that sense of shyness and sweetness between a young couple. "She's just a bit shy," your voice rang out warmly. You looked down at the woman in your arms, who almost wanted to bury her face in your chest. In a tone full of doting, you said, "Please, wrap up everything she tried on just now." As you spoke, you naturally took a black gold card from your pocket and handed it over. The assistant looked at the completely black card with a matte texture, especially the extremely noble gold-stamped logo in the bottom right corner. Her breath hitched. This wasn't an ordinary credit card, but a black gold card issued only to top-tier clients, the ultimate symbol of status and wealth. The smile on her face became even more sincere and fervent, almost with a hint of reverence as she took the thin card with both hands. In her heart, however, waves were already surging. Heavens, this gentleman is not only young and handsome, but he's also so incredibly generous. Looking again at the Miss Sue in your arms, who was pampered into a beet red face and too shy to lift her head, the assistant's eyes were filled with undisguised envy and awe. Young, wealthy, handsome, and so protective, he was essentially every woman's dream man. Why couldn't she meet such a peerless man? With a heart full of envy, the assistant turned toward the cashier. Seizing this gap, Soo-won, who had been burying her face in your chest, finally gathered the courage to lightly tug at your sleeve. She still didn't dare look up, only sang in a voice as thin as a mosquito, almost with a hint of pleading, Is it too much? Let's not get them. Just keeping the one I'm wearing is fine." So many bold clothes, every single one represented her intoxication and loss of composure in the fitting room. Just thinking about it made Soo-won's face burn intensely. She wanted to destroy all that evidence immediately. Hearing this, you looked down at the fuzzy, slightly trembling head in your arms, the smile in your eyes deepening. You didn't answer directly, but raised your hand to gently stroke her burning, blushed cheek. The movement was so tender it seemed it could squeeze out water. Only when Su-won shuddered from your intimate gesture did you lean down, pressing your lips close to her ear. In a gentle yet indisputable tone that only the two of you could hear, you said slowly, "For my woman, no amount of clothes is enough." Boom. This dominant and doting sentence was like an irresistible electric current, instantly hitting the softest part of Su-won's heart. That feeling of being cherished and possessed made her feel an unprecedented ambiguity mixed with shame and sweetness. All her protests and struggles felt so weak and powerless in the face of this sentence. Su-won completely gave up her resistance. Her throat couldn't produce a sound. She could only bury her face, which felt like it was on fire, deeper into your solid, warm chest, letting that strong masculine scent completely envelop and swallow her. Ring, swipe the card. Necklace, bracelet, swipe, swipe. Throughout the day, you bought many things for Su-won. Clothed from the outside in, jewelry from top to bottom, dressing her up, and swiping that no-limit black gold card for her. Su-won forgot how she got back home. She only knew that once she came to her senses, she was already in her bedroom. The whole house was empty and quiet. Fortunately, Chen Hao wasn't home. Otherwise, her son would have been very surprised and confused to see her in this disheveled state with so many bags. She felt as if all her strength had been pulled from her, leaning powerlessly against the door, staring blankly at her old bed. No, it could no longer be called a bed. It was a magnificent and suffocating small mountain piled with countless shopping bags printed with gold-stamped logos. Those symbols, which she used to see only in magazines and on TV, symbols of another world, were now unscrupulously occupying her simple bedroom, emitting a luxurious and dangerous scent of leather and money. Silk, cashmere, lace, boxes of jewelry shimmering with a charming luster. Like a bursting flood, it instantly demolished the simplicity and peace she had maintained for 20 years. Dragging her weak legs, she moved toward the bed step by step, as if bewitched. As if by magic, she picked up a box and opened it gently. Click. The crisp sound was like thunder in the silent bedroom. A diamond necklace lay quietly on the black silk, reflecting a brilliant and cold light under the faint glow coming through the window. This light made her eyes sting. In her life, she had never owned such a valuable thing. When her husband was alive, they lived frugally. After he died, she pinched every penny. The price of this necklace was probably more expensive than all the clothes she had bought for herself in the past 20 years combined. This wasn't a gift. It was a shackle, a magnificent shackle forged from money and desire. With trembling hands, Su-won took the necklace from the box and walked to the dressing table. She looked at herself in the mirror, cheeks flushed, eyes shimmering. Those mist-filled, peach blossom eyes. Where was the gentle and virtuous appearance she usually had? She looked exactly like a shameless woman. "Does it look good, Auntie Sue? Does it look good, Auntie Sue?" Your teasing voice rang out behind her ear like a ghost. Su-won's body stiffened. She looked up sharply through the mirror of the dressing table and saw the face that made her both afraid and intoxicated. You had appeared silently behind her at some unknown point, leaning down slightly and resting your chin on her shoulder. Your warm breath puffed against her neck, triggering a series of fine tremors. In the mirror, the two figures were pressed closely together. She wore simple loungewear, yet her cheeks were flushed from the memories and the diamond necklace in her hand, those mist-filled eyes. And behind her, you stood tall and handsome, those deep eyes looking at her in the mirror with a smile, your gaze burning with undisguised heat. This image was as intimate as a couple in love, yet because of the taboo relationship between the two, it carried a suffocating sense of danger and ambiguity. How did you get in?" Su-won cried out, her voice trembling with extreme panic. She instinctively wanted to stand up and create distance, but her limbs felt as heavy as lead. All the strength in her body seemed to be sucked away by that burning chest behind her. Her first thought was of her son, Chen Hao. Is he back? Did he see Xiao Qin-yun? You seemed to see through her panic. Yet you had no intention of answering her question. You just lightly brushed your cheek against her temple and said softly, "I missed you." These words were like an irresistible magic spell, instantly demolishing the psychological defense Su-won had worked so hard to build. All the terror, all the questioning, vanished in the face of these three words. You didn't explain how you got in, as if this house and this room were territories you could enter and exit at will. And the reason you came was simple and dominantly indisputable, just because you missed her. Suwon's body went completely limp. You gently turned her around so she was facing you. Then you took her hand and, half pulling and half carrying her, brought her to that small mountain of shopping bags. Holding her waist, you let her sit gently on the edge of the bed. The expensive silk and soft cashmere made a faint rustling sound beneath her. She was surrounded by the spoils of her frantic day. Every item reminded her of her surrender and indulgence. Suwon lowered her head bashfully, not daring to look into your eyes, burying her burning face deep. You used a finger to lightly tilt up her small chin, forcing her to meet your gaze. Auntie Sue. You gazed into those water-clear peach blossom eyes, seeing the bashfulness, the panic, and that hint of passion that couldn't be hidden. The corner of your mouth curled into a satisfied smile as you said, "Today is just the beginning." Before the words fully landed, you kissed her luscious red lips. This time, there was no testing or enticement like in the fitting room. This kiss was full of indisputable possession and declaration. MMPH. Suwon's last shred of reason was completely declared lost in this dominant yet gentle entanglement of lips and tongues. She fell back powerlessly, reclining into that luxury built of money and desire, allowing this young man to swallow her whole. Rip. The sound of fabric tearing was exceptionally piercing in the silent bedroom. The loungewear Suwon was wearing was ruthlessly torn open, exposing a large area of snow-white, delicate skin to your eyes. It formed a strong visual contrast with those magnificent and expensive silks. She let out a cry, startled by this sudden roughness. Those peach blossom eyes, intoxicated with emotion, cleared slightly for a moment. Don't be like this." Suwon finally found a bit of reason. She instinctively reached out a soft, powerless hand to lightly tap your solid chest, her voice carrying a sob and undisguised fear. "How's he? Chin Hao? He's coming back soon." Hearing her tearful plea, you indeed stopped. You didn't get up, still maintaining the posture of looming over her. Those deep eyes, burning with fire, gazed down at her from above. "I know, don't worry, Auntie Sue." You looked into Suwon's beautiful eyes, full of heat, and said softly, "I won't go to the final step right now. In the previous life, your life was destroyed by your brother. After being reborn, not only were you not angry, instead, you used the system to begin a deep communication with his mother. Just now, when everything was about to proceed according to the process, I suddenly dropped a line. We can't do that step yet." But, upon hearing these words, the string of Suwon's nerves, taut to the absolute limit, finally snapped with a clean pop. An indescribable sense of relief, like surviving a disaster, instantly swept through her entire body. That heart, which had been hanging in her throat, finally settled back into place. Her strength seemed to be drained in an instant, and she slumped down limply. Thank goodness, I haven't completely lost my mind yet." Yet before this feeling of relief could dissipate, an extremely subtle emotion, one she was too ashamed to even voice to herself, quietly began to spread in the depths of her heart. It was a trace of inexplicable disappointment. "Why am I disappointed?" Suwon was startled into a cold sweat by this absurd thought. Her cheeks instantly burned hot. How could she feel disappointed about such a thing? Was she going mad? She hurriedly crushed this terrifying thought into the depths of her heart, her eyelids trembling uncontrollably in a panic, no longer daring to look into your eyes. You took in all the changes in her expression. That flash of disappointment naturally did not escape your gaze. The smile at the corner of your mouth grew richer. Giving her no time for idle thoughts, you leaned down once again. With a posture that was both tender and dominant, you kissed her slightly parted, petal-red lips. A large hand traveled along the delicate, smooth line of her waist. It easily covered that soft mound that rose and fell gently with her breath, a softness that made one's heart sway. Suwon's body felt as if it had been struck by an electric current again. The relief of surviving the moment and the budding disappointment were instantly crushed by this sudden, high-impact provocation. She lay atop the pile of shopping bags, symbolizing her fall and indulgence, wearing her torn old clothes, with the young man who brought her unprecedented excitement and experience right before her. At this moment, she even developed an illusion, as if this was the life she was meant to have, intense, crazy, and wrapped in suffocating danger and pleasure. Just as both were immersed in this ultimate lingering, nearly throwing everything to the back of their minds. Knock, knock, knock. A sudden and urgent sound of knocking on the door. It was like a thunderclap on level ground, exploding violently in the silent bedroom. Following that, a voice familiar to Suwon's very core came from outside the door. "Mom, are you in there? I'm back." It was Chen Hao. All the blood in Suwon's body seemed to freeze at this moment. Even her soul felt as though it had been shaken out of her shell by that knock. The pleasure she had been drowning in just a second ago now turned into the sharpest icicles, stabbing ruthlessly into her heart. "Ah!" She let out a short cry of alarm, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She pushed you away with a sudden force and sprang up from the pile of shopping bags. The color drained from her face. Those peach blossom eyes that were just misty and full of passion now held nothing but endless terror and despair. "It's over. It's all over." Her son was back, he was right outside the door, and she was actually with his friend. Suwon didn't dare think further. A massive sense of guilt and fear gripped her heart, making her body shake uncontrollably and her teeth chatter. She frantically grabbed the torn loungewear, trying to cover her exposed skin. But that shredded fabric seemed to be silently mocking her current pathetic state. "What should I do? What should I do?" Suwon murmured incoherently, tears bursting from her eyes uncontrollably. The gaze she directed at you was full of pleading and fear. She cried out urgently, "Hao Zi is back! You have to go, quickly!" You, however, gave a faint smile and spoke unhurriedly. "What are you afraid of? Just put on your clothes, go out, and open the door. Won't that be fine?" This split through Suwon's chaotic thoughts. Right, opening the door. I must go open the door immediately. Suwon finally came to her senses. She hurriedly fished another set of loungewear from the closet, while raising her voice to call out to Chen Hao outside. Don't rush, Mom is changing. I'll be right there." Suwon threw on her clothes haphazardly, not even having time to fix her messy hair, before stumbling toward the door. She took a deep breath, gripped the cold doorknob with a trembling hand, and forced a smile onto her face that looked more painful than crying. Creak. The door opened. Outside, her son Chen Hao's sunny, handsome face came into view. Standing beside him was a woman. Chen Hao's face held a hint of confusion as he asked, "Mom, why did it take you so long to open the door?" "I also just got back. Mom was just changing her clothes." Suwon smiled forcedly and explained. Hearing this, Chen Hao nodded slightly, not suspecting anything more. Seeing that her son wasn't suspicious, Suwon's heart, which had been suspended to the extreme, halfway settled. She stepped aside to let her son and his future bride into the house. At that moment, you stepped out of the bedroom as if taking a stroll, a composed smile on your face. You had already tidied your clothes. Not a single thing seemed out of place. You were even carrying 2 shopping bags, your posture as natural as if you had just been helping organize things. "Auntie, where would be a good place for these 2 bags?" you asked in a gentle tone. Seeing you, Chen Hao's eyes lit up, and he immediately greeted you enthusiastically. "Chen Yun, you worked hard today, accompanying my mom for so long. Come, let me introduce you. This is your future sister-in-law." Hearing Chen Hao's introduction, the smile at the corner of your mouth became even more playful. Your gaze finally moved from the shaken yet still charming mature beauty in front of you, and settled slowly on the face of the woman beside Chen Hao. With just one look, your pupils constricted slightly. This was a woman completely different from Suwon. An elegant white dress made her snow-pale skin look even more radiant. Her whole aura was pure and ethereal. Her black, smooth, long hair fell like a waterfall over her shoulders, framing an exquisite, flawless oval face. Just as your gaze locked onto her, a sky-blue virtual panel, visible only to you, unfurled above her head. Target locked, Lin Weiwei, beauty, 95. Figure, 92. Heartbeat, 0%. Loneliness, 10%. Comprehensive evaluation, top-tier virgin. Aura is cold and pure, flawless. If her icy heart can be melted, you will taste the ultimate fragrance of the world. An excellent manifestation of the desire for conquest. Another top-tier beauty, and she was Chen Hao's soon-to-be wed wife. The corner of your mouth curled into a meaningful arc. Chen Hao. Oh, Chen Hao. In the previous life, you took what I loved and destroyed my life. In this life, I will not only make your mother pay for the sins you committed, but I will also make your most cherished fiancé slowly become mine. These frantic thoughts surged in your heart, but your face remained that of a refined gentleman. Your gaze lingered on Lin Weiwei's peerless face for an instant, and then you politely reached out your hand, smiling as you spoke. "Hello, sister-in-law. I'm Chen Hao's brother, Xiao Qin-yun. Weiwei, did something happen today? Is the wedding dress picked out yet?" Su Wan sat on the sofa, holding Lin Weiwei's small hand and patting it gently, asking softly. "It wasn't a big deal. Just a small issue regarding the price of the wedding dress package. We had mostly agreed before, but there was a small surprise today." Lin Weiwei shook her head slightly and turned to look at Chen Hao, saying with a smile, "But it's fine. How's he handled everything today?" "Mom, don't worry about these little things. Weiwei and I can handle them ourselves," Chen Hao said happily to his mother, pulling Lin Weiwei close by the shoulder. From beginning to end, you played the role of the perfect guest, sitting quietly to the side with a gentle, appropriate smile, occasionally chiming in when Chen Hao spoke. But most of the time, your gaze inconspicuously enveloped Lin Weiwei. Top-tier virgin. Cold aura. Flawless. The system's evaluation echoed in your mind, and your lips curled into a playful arc once again. Fragments of memories from your previous life came rushing back. You suddenly remembered something. A past event buried deep in Chen Hao's heart. If you remembered correctly, Chen Hao once had an ex-girlfriend who loved him deeply, even to the point of obsession. Later, in order to pursue Lin Weiwei, who had a superior family background, Chen Hao dumped that girl in an extremely cold and heartless manner. It was said that the girl was depressed for a long time and even did many foolish things. If she knew that Chen Hao was about to enter the hall of marriage with another woman, and if this ex-girlfriend suddenly came to crash the wedding while it was in progress, how would this cold and elegant Lin Weiwei react? Once this thought surfaced, it spread through your heart like a wildfire, impossible to suppress. A near-perfect plan had already taken shape in your mind. With a trace of an apologetic smile on your face, you spoke, "I need to give my family a call." With that, you nodded slightly to the group and turned toward the guest room Su Wan had reserved for you. "Qin-yun? You can just take it here, there are no outsiders," Chen Hao said casually, without a shred of suspicion. "You guys chat first." You waved your hand without looking back, your figure quickly disappearing at the end of the hallway. Entering the guest room, you casually locked the door and pulled out your phone to dial a number. "Hello, little brother. Did the sun rise from the west today?" You actually took the initiative to call your second sister. A lazy female voice came from the other end, but her tone carried a hint of shrewdness and capability. "Xiao Qinsei, currently serving as a captain in the Criminal Investigation Detachment. Haven't seen you in a while. Missed my second sister?" You chuckled, your tone carrying a bit of a flattering edge. Xiao Qinsei hummed over the phone, her tone full of mock scolding but unable to hide a trace of a smile. "Only your mouth is sweet, you smooth talker. Speak up, what trouble did you get into this time? Or did you run out of money again?" "How could I?" you denied with a laugh, then shifted the topic to the main point. "Second sister, I want to ask you for a small favor. Help me check a person's phone number." You stated a name that had been nearly forgotten in the depths of your memory. "Oh?" Xiao Qinsei perked up when she heard it was a woman's name. She teased, "Not bad, kid. You've only been out for a few days and you're already eyeing some girl. You're even willing to use your second sister's authority to check her number. You're getting more capable by the day." You just chuckled and didn't explain much, letting her tease you. You knew that dealing with this incredibly shrewd second sister, the more you said, the more likely you were to make a mistake. Silence was the best response. On the other end, Xiao Qinsei seemed long accustomed to your behavior. She didn't ask further, only sighing helplessly. All right, I'll check it for you. But you'd better remember, don't mess around too much out there. Everything must have a limit." She paused, her voice gaining a hint of undisguised concern. "When are you coming home?" "I'll be back after Chen Hao's wedding." Your voice became soft and obedient, like a child acting spoiled for candy. "I really miss you, second sister." Hearing your playful words, Xiao Qinsei huffed. "Stop being flippant with me. If you miss me, then hurry up and get back here." Having said that, her tone softened noticeably. "Fine, I'll send you the info once I find it. I'm hanging up. There's a pile of stuff at the station waiting for me." With that, she hung up decisively. Not long after, Xiao Qinsei sent all the information you wanted. The screen lit up with a simple text message. Tang Ru. Phone. 139. I've seen the photo. She's quite pretty. Your taste is not bad, kid. You didn't reply. Instead, you took out another phone and sent a message to the number named Tang Ru. After finishing this, you straightened your collar, opened the door, and walked back into the living room. Chen Hao and Lin Weiwei were whispering something with their heads close together. Su Wan, however, seemed a bit distracted, her gaze frequently darting toward the guest room. When she saw you walk out, her body stiffened, almost imperceptibly. Sorry, a call from home. We talked a bit long, kept you waiting. You sat back on the sofa with an apologetic look, your posture as natural as if you had just taken an ordinary phone call. It's nothing. Chen Hao waved his hand carelessly. Well, it's getting late. I'll go to the kitchen to cook. Su Wan spoke up hurriedly. Before her words even landed, she stood up as if escaping, not daring to look at the people in the living room again, and walked quickly toward the kitchen. Auntie, let me help you, you said with a gentle smile, standing up as well. I can learn a bit of cooking from you so I can show off in front of my friends later. The kitchen door was already slightly ajar. It closed gently as you entered, cutting off all sound from the living room. Su Wan was standing at the sink with her back to the door, washing greens. The sound of the running water couldn't hide the slight trembling of her shoulders. She clearly heard the footsteps behind her. That familiar scent washed over her, making her body instantly tense. What did you come in for? She didn't turn around. Her voice kept extremely low, carrying a trace of uncontrollable panic and trembling. I don't need help here. Go back out and keep Haozi company. You didn't speak, but just stepped forward to stand behind her. The distance between you was so close that Su Wan could clearly feel the aggressive, burning heat from your body. That familiar masculine scent was like dense vines, wrapping tightly around her, leaving her nowhere to run. Auntie Su, are you afraid of me? You asked softly. You're crazy. Su Wan's body gave a violent jolt. She bit her red lip hard, her voice thin as a mosquito's. Haozi is right outside. This warning did not make you back down. Instead, it seemed like an invitation. Instead of letting go of the hand around her waist, you tightened it, pressing her soft, curvaceous body more closely against yours. You lowered your head, your warm lips precisely landing on her fair, elegant nape. That delicate skin shuddered slightly from its owner's fear. A wave of numbness exploded from the side of her neck, instantly spreading through her entire body. Su Wan felt her legs go soft, nearly unable to stand. She could only lean into your embrace, barely supporting her weak body. Don't be afraid. Your kiss carried a hint of tenderness, moving downward. Your voice was like a lover's whisper, full of bewitching power as it rang softly in her ear. Haozi is busy with his fiancée. They have no eyes for anyone else right now. We won't be discovered. Let go. Let me go. Su Wan wanted to refuse, wanted to push this daring man away with force, but reason throttled her impulse. She was afraid that any noise too loud would attract her son's attention. Once Chen Hao walked in and saw this scene, the consequences. This fear of breaking the vase while trying to hit the rat made her body stiff and unable to move. She could only allow the man to do as he pleased. To your ears, her resistance sounded more like a coquettish whine, making the fire in your eyes burn hotter. One hand remained dominantly around her slender waist, while the other was no longer satisfied. It slid under the hem of her loungewear, quietly exploring until it covered that flat, warm abdomen. No! Su Wan's body tensed sharply, her breath stopping for an instant. The burning temperature from the man's palm felt as if it were scalding her skin and burning away her last bit of reason. She wanted to hide, but there was a solid chest behind her and a cold sink in front of her. She was trapped in this tiny space, with nowhere to run. From the living room, the faint sounds of Chen Hao and Lin Weiwei laughing and talking could be heard. That familiar voice now felt like sharp swords. Are you coming to my room tonight? You whispered, the words slicing through Su Wan's tormented nerves. Su Wan slightly squinted her misty eyes, bit her full red lip hard, and turned her face. Her hot breath puffed against your ear. Didn't you say tonight? Don't do this now. This sentence, which was meant as a plea, was nothing less than the sweetest promise and invitation to your ears. It meant she had defaulted to the nighttime appointment. Hearing this, the curve of your lips became even more wicked. You pressed your lips to her reddened earlobe, licking it, and whispered in a voice only two could hear. Tonight is for tonight. Now is for now. Your voice was like a devil's whisper, carrying an irresistible dominance that completely shattered Suwon's last hope. Suwon closed her eyes tightly, moisture clinging to her trembling lashes. Her voice was thin, carrying a trace of burning the boat's despair. Then, what do you want right now? Feeling the tremors of the curvaceous body in your arms, your smile grew more wicked. Now, I want to collect some interest first. Interest. These words were like an electric current, instantly surging through Suwon's whole body. She understood exactly what it meant. Massive shame made her want to refuse without a second thought, but she also knew you wouldn't give up so easily. In total helplessness, Suwon bit her full lower lip in humiliation, the slight sting giving her the resolve she needed. Slowly, as if using all her strength, she turned around. Those misty peach blossom eyes were now full of complex emotions, pleading, fear, and a trace of a heartbeat suppressed in the deepest depths that she didn't even dare admit to herself. Under your playful gaze, Suwon raised both arms and proactively circled your neck, then stood on her tiptoes, decisively offering her luscious red lips. This kiss was originally the price she paid to end this torment quickly, a humiliating transaction. However, the moment their lips met, everything spiraled out of control. She had intended for it to be a fleeting touch, but when that familiar, aggressively masculine scent completely enveloped her, the string in her mind called reason snapped. The madness of the fitting room during the day, the intoxication in the bedroom, and now the stimulation amplified infinitely by the dangerous environment, all sensory experiences were like a bursting flood, instantly demolishing her fragile defense. This kiss, instead of just fueling your fire, completely ignited the flame Suwon had been desperately suppressing. Her kiss went from raw and desperate to urgent and greedy. She was no longer a passive recipient, but like a traveler dying in the desert, frantically seeking the sweet spring that would let her drown. Her body completely softened in your arms. Her reason was burning. Her soul was falling. The only thing left was the primal desire for the man before her. The living room gave Suwon a strange stimulation, yet also a greater sense of security, because it allowed her to roughly judge their position. They wouldn't suddenly burst in and find what she was doing with you. Suwon was completely intoxicated. She responded with abandon, taking greedily. Even when you gripped the steamed buns, she showed no resistance, even cooperating fully. She tilted her head slightly, squeezing a gap for breath amidst the intense kiss. That face, as vibrant as a plum because of her passion, was full of intoxication. Lowering her voice, she whispered almost entirely in breath, "Keep it quiet. Don't let Haozi hear." This sentence carried a trace of coquettishness and acceptance she hadn't even realized herself. To your ears, it was the sweetest invitation. You slowly released her lips, which were swollen and luscious from the kiss, pulling back a tiny bit of distance. Your deep black eyes held an undisguised, playful smile as you gazed down at her misty eyes, at her chest heaving with rapid breaths. Your lips curled into a wicked arc. You spoke slowly. "Didn't you say it wouldn't do here?" You intentionally paused, admiring her increasingly frantic expression, before unhurriedly finishing the sentence. "Or should we wait until tonight?"